Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Well, we were all hoping for good news from the feds, but without any rate cut in sight, Americans are still paying crazy high rates on credit cards and other loans. Don't wait for things to get worse. If you're struggling, act now. Hey, this is Brock Ewart for my friends at Tila Mortgage. Contact Tila for information on their home equity line of credit, or HELOC. With a HELOC, you can consolidate high-interest bills into one lower, manageable payment while keeping your current low fixed-rate first mortgage. Tila's been helping Washingtonians consolidate debts for over 25 years, and they're experts at purchase and reverse mortgages, too. Take control of your finances and improve your monthly cash flow. Don't let debt payments control your life. Call Tila Mortgage today at 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
TilaMortgage.com. Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners got a sweep of the Rangers over the weekend, firmly in first place in the AL West by 8.5 games, largest lead in any division in baseball. This was a fantastic shutout finale on Sunday in front of a sold-out crowd. On Father's Day, Logan Gilbert struck out 9 through 8 innings. The Mavs forced Game 5 with the third biggest blowout win in NBA Finals history. That game is tonight in Boston.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
It was a sweep for the Seattle Mariners, including an electric finale on Sunday in front of a sold-out crowd at T-Mobile Park. We're going to talk about the 3 things we learned about Seattle this weekend. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Happy belated Father's Day to you, Bump, and you, Curtis.
Gracias. It was a good weekend.
Father's Day.
Yeah, it was good. I got to do the things I love. I played some golf, hung out. I made sure I spent some time with each one of my kids one by one. My wife tells me that they appreciate that a bit more than kind of the group setting. So make sure I kicked it with each one of them one by one. Took one golfing. I did like a little facial session with all these products with my daughter.
That's the cutest one.
And then my other son, he just likes to watch movies, so I took him to see Bad Boys. It's rated R. He's 12.
Were there moments where you thought, oh, Oh, no.
There are some moments where I'm covering his eyes. I'm thinking these people are looking at me in this theater like, why would you bring your son here? But it's like, that was 5 minutes of the movie. Everything else was cool. But yeah, it was a good weekend.
That's when you just give him the tablet.
Yep.
Pay attention to this. Watch Bluey. He's like, I'm too old for that. What are you talking about? Well, I'm glad that that you guys both had an excellent Father's Day weekend, and I'm mostly excited that you and Jada did face masks. That to me is the cutest.
That was
thing.
interesting.
Did you learn a lot about skincare?
Not really. It's kind of just sitting there and letting her talk about her weekend and stuff, and then trying to eat at the same time as wearing one of those.
You just don't do it.
Pretty tough.
What are you trying to eat at the same time?
It's watermelon season out here. Them watermelons is good. So
Trying
I'm
to fit
all over
it through the face mask?
Yeah.
Hang on one sec.
Yeah, 1 second.
All right, well, we learned a lot about the Mariners this weekend. And now, Bump, we already knew plenty going in. This is a team that has excellent pitching. So when I say that one of the things is Logan Gilbert is a monster, our takeaway from the weekend, you can hear that and you can think, well, obviously. But that was one of the things that was sticking with you after this series watching Logan.
Logan is when he's dialed in, I don't see too many that can rock with him, honestly. And then you just look at the pitches that he has. He has 6 pitches, right? But he really only leans on a few of them. He threw the slider 38% of the time, 4-seam 24%, splitter 21%, right? So then you know you're going to get a heavy dose of those 3 pitches. But when he's on point, he's going to mix in that curveball he threw 9 times, the cutter a few times, the sinker a few times. And I imagine you going into the batter's box facing Logan Gilbert, and he's dialed in, and you haven't seen a curveball all night, and boom, he hits you with it. You look at the dugout like, what the heck was that, man? He just has a way of keeping you on your toes and keeping you guessing. And when he's on point, man, it's like you feel his presence on that mound. His velocity is up on all of his pitches so far this year, or at least yesterday on his average, all his velocity was up. He's locked in. This is what you want to see towards the middle of the season from one of your big dogs.
Absolutely. I was watching Sunday's game in person, and shout out Arlene, who gave us amazing seats. We were right behind home, and so you just get a much closer look at Logan and just some of the strength, velocity that he has, and oh my God, it was
Were you
special.
behind home? You Diamond Clubbing it?
No, but we were a couple rows away from Diamond
Okay,
Club, so
all right.
we were.
You could see the rich and famous.
We can see the rich, so I could see the food that Diamond Club was eating while I was not eating, and it was cool.
It's like, wow, I wish to be a part of that one day.
No, so it was me, my boyfriend, and my boyfriend's parents, and I told Arlene, I was like, please find the best tickets you possibly can. I really want to impress them. And when we showed up, I definitely felt very important. I definitely rolled up and I was like, no, we keep walking further down. Follow me. Not to Diamond Club, but over here, guys. And then you get there and you're feeling like, but then when I got there, so they're in town visiting him. And I was thinking,
where are they from?
Boise. Well, they're from here, but they live in Boise. So they drove over to visit, and we're taking them to the game, and that's the big thing, right? And I'm thinking, oh God, what if I get these tickets and we come here and the Mariners just get blown out? So Logan starts, pitching, looking great, and then I'm getting dramatic, right? I'm like, oh my God, these guys are being no hit through 1. Like, I have a flair for the dramatic. I'm already getting dramatic through 1 inning, going, oh God, no hits so far. This is going to be horrendous. Then they keep going, and they're not really doing much offensively at all. And this guy, we're like in the 4th inning, this guy a couple rows back shouts, do something. I was like, listen to that guy. And then before you know it, you get Josh Rojas with, a double, then you get him, running in on a wild pitch. So then you start getting that offense generating, and then of course later you start, seeing some power, seeing more doubles, seeing a home run by Rayleigh. So then you start getting those moments, and I was like, why did I doubt them? Why did I ever doubt that they wouldn't provide run support? It's surely not something they've ever done. But it brings us to our next point. Mariners really starting to hit for power. You noted Luke Rayleigh and Julio's stats.
Yeah, Luke has 7 home runs, 16 RBIs through May and half of June. And I know we're only halfway through June, but Julio's having his best slugging month so far. 456 with an 816 OPS. I mean, this is what you want to see. You want to see the bats moving in the right direction. And low-key, I know his numbers aren't great, but Mitch Haniger has been hitting the ball hard as heck, man. His exit velos are around 110. I saw 111 there as well. You're starting to see the right indicators that are like, look, man, maybe they're calming down. They're finding themselves. I also asked the question, they fired their OC like a month ago. Now, they were winning a few games before that, but since that firing, it feels like I don't even have numbers to support this. I'm just going all off the field.
No, then you're right.
It feels like they're doing a lot better in the box. I ain't trying to put all the blame on the homie, but sometimes you need a little change to kind of recalibrate things.
There is a certain point that, like, I remember us having Shannon on, and Shannon rightfully answered because they had scored in the 5 games since moving on from Brown. They had gotten like 8 runs in like 3 of those. One of them was a loss, but like all of a sudden they were hitting. And Shannon rightfully and fairly was like, look, it's been a week.
Yeah.
You want to be able to point to a change and say, oh my God, you know, what if this is because of this? But it's such a small sample size. In baseball, you just can't. To your point, Bump. But a little more time now, and you start to wonder, like, well, shoot.
I'm saying, and when the firing happened, we broke it down as well with Shannon and everyone else. And we're like, look, this is when you do it. You got a homestand coming up. You're going to get some opponents you think you should be able to handle. So it's set up perfectly. But since then, I'm telling you, the last 21 games, where they're 16-5. They just look like a team that is starting to figure out how to make nice contact.
Speaking of making nice contact, they are hitting more doubles. Y'all remember not that long ago when one of the points that we kept making, we as a station, we as fans, about the Mariners was they were last in doubles. Like, as a team, they weren't slugging, and Julio was kind of the centerpiece of that, where we were like, come on, Julio, you could be so much better here. Why are you, near the last on this team in slugging? Over the last 30 days, they are 6th in doubles. And you saw a couple of those yesterday. You saw a couple in this series. That's outside of just the home runs. Like, seeing, to me, those doubles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the most reassuring thing. They're 21st in team slugging over the last 2 weeks, so they could still be even better there. Like, they were so bad at getting those extra base hits that, even a nice bump, that team slugging is still a little bit low on the season. But that, to me, stands out more than anything.
Yeah, you need those extra base hits, right? Is obviously, it generates runs. It puts pressure on the defense. It's a great thing to see. I'm still waiting on Julio to have his kind of explosion of extra base hits, but it's all good, man. He can't do everything. You can't expect him to fix everything all on his own. But no, I love that, man. It's putting pressure on that defense. It's and it's momentum shifter too, man. There's nothing like seeing one of your hitters round first. He's getting in the second. He's sliding it. It's an exciting play. So yeah, it's again, indicators. I'm a big believer in indicators in life and sports and everything. If you see a trend happening, you're saying, okay, things are starting to get better, and we're starting to feel that. And this was just a big series for me, Stacey, because I think I don't care what the Rangers were doing before this series. When you have a divisional opponent, they are second in the division behind you, obviously. You want to let the AL West know this is our division. This was like a big moment for me, to where they stepped up to the challenge and they executed. Now, there were some times during this series where things look a little shaky. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point during the show. But they handle business, man. I think that was just such a big step, man. Curtis, you said, they're 6-1 versus the Astros and the Rangers this year?
On their 2 most recent homestands, 6-1 against them.
I mean, come on now. Those have been the big dogs in this division. So I think mentally it was big. I asked Shannon, was it Friday? One of these days we talked to her. I go, mentally, how big is this for the Mariners? And she agreed. She goes, look, man, this is going to be a big test for them. So yeah, I'm happy for these dudes. It's like you're watching. It's like my son, his voice is starting to crack, and I get so excited when it does. I go, there we go. Come on now. Puberty's coming. So that's how I see this. The Rangers, their voice is cracking right now. The Mariners' voice, they're growing up.
That's exactly. It's the Mariners' voice cracking.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. And you're like, yeah, that's right. Let's go. Before we get to this last point, which this actually naturally transitions to, I am really glad that you mentioned that, because this is a team that had, they didn't get a sweep of the White Sox, but they did take 3 from the White Sox, and they took 3 in a sweep of the Rangers. Now, you could look at the Rangers, particularly on offense, over the last 15 days, and you can go, oh, God, the Rangers have really plummeted. Like, they are not hitting extra base hits. They are not slugging. They are really struggling. But these are not equally bad teams. These are not equal. I don't want to call it a sweep, but these are not equal series wins. And I'm so glad you pointed to that, because there were a lot of people that fairly wanted to kind of take something away from winning 3 over the White Sox.
Right.
Going, you should have knocked these guys out of the water. They're horrible. They had 5 road wins before coming to T-Mobile. And there's this feeling of wanting to do that with the Rangers because of where they're at right now, but I don't think they're the same. These are not equally bad teams, regardless of, where they are statistically right now, or regardless of the fall off. Like, I don't care what the Rangers stats are this year, to your point. This is a team that won a World Series that has a lot of talent. It just, they're not playing their very best right now. They're a little off, but this is a sweep that means something.
Yeah, because when you look at the potential of the Chicago White Sox, you say there damn near isn't any potential.
Right.
But you look at the potential of the Rangers. Yes, they got some injuries that they're dealing with. It's still greater than the Chicago White Sox. So all wins aren't created equal, honestly, but we accept all wins however you can get it. So, yeah, I think that's a good point, man. To say what you want about the Rangers and how they've been playing as of late, but I always go back to what if they didn't? What if they didn't win this series? What if they didn't have the offensive explosion that they had in a couple games? Then we'd be left with more questions. But I think right now what we got from that Texas Rangers series is just more hope and more eagerness to see what's going to happen next and what moves will be made.
Bump, tell me what you think of our final point. The last thing we learned about the Mariners this weekend. Credit Curtis for pointing this out. Look, they're 6-1 against the Astros and Rangers over the last 2 homestands. The Mariners are the best team in the AL West, and it's not particularly close.
That feels good, man. That feels good. 8.5 games, I believe, lead, the biggest lead in any division. Who thought we'd be here, huh? We are here right now. Look at us. We're here. And this is exciting. This is an exciting part of the season. You're starting to see the basket going. You took care of the Rangers. Yes, you dropped one against the White Sox, but you're winning series. That should be the goal, right? Just win the series. I know you're not going to get the mop or the sweep every single time, but you start stacking up these wins, man, good things are going to happen. So I think this was a shot sent to the division and the league. We're not associated with these teams, right? We're not managers and coaches or whatnot. So I'm sure they've been paying attention to the Mariners and saying, y'all been tripping, just like Trisha Whitaker told us last week. Be more grateful of your team. But we have reasons to kind of be hesitant. So I think still hesitant to be like, okay, this is a playoff-bound team, 100% guaranteed, but the hezzy is starting to slow down a little bit. And as each game passes by, as each win is accumulated, you start to believe more. And I know these guys are starting to believe more too, man. It's fun to watch.
All right. Coming up later in the show, we are going to get to something that's standing out. We talked about what stood out from the Mariners this weekend. Something standing out about the Mariners' home and road splits that's really interesting. That's coming up at 10:30. We're talking college football at 11, kind of switching it up a bit. Pro Football Focus college football analyst Matt Chadwick is going to join us right now. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, the Mavericks forced a Game 5 with the third biggest blowout win in NBA Finals history. What's the real headline?
It's kind of like that expensive surgery for your 14-year-old dog.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know that's a little. I know. Matt looks horrified. I'm sorry. That is very dark. I'm so sorry to everyone who, even if you're currently going through that process. But look, when I said that, you all knew what I meant. You knew what I meant. I'm not going to say it, but you know what I meant.
Yeah, I think it's perfect, honestly,
right?
because you're just prolonging the inevitable. It's going to go down. How much time do you want? How much time do you want? No team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit to win NBA Finals. 4 teams have forced a Game 7. None have won. In the NHL, 4 teams have come back from 3-0. Only one have won the Stanley Cup. And MLB, no team has done it. It's a wrap, but here's what you can do. Go out with some pride. Kyrie, fix your game. Luka, fix your attitude. Jason Kidd, keep learning how to deal with a superstar like Luka. There are some things you can still gain from this. I know no Dallas fan wants to hear that, but it's a wrap, man. Boston, go ahead and celebrate. 1 NBA championship in 38 years. So when y'all come for me and my Lakers, okay? Y'all got 1 in 38 years. You're about to get 2. You're going to pass us up. Most of your championships came in the 60s. There was 1 black dude on the team, no black people in the arena. It was different back then, all right? So don't come for me.
Now, Boston fans, if you are solely a Boston Celtics fan, that's the only team you care about, it's probably felt like a tough run here. However, if you are a Boston sports fan, it's really hard for me to feel bad for you in general. And I get it, right? Like there are people who, grew up in Washington State and maybe only care about the Mariners. And you go, well, the Seahawks won a Super Bowl, and I don't care. Seattle doesn't have nearly the success Boston does, though, so it's a horrible analogy. But the point is, if you only care about the Celtics, you might be ready to complain. You might be Bill Simmons out here talking about it's been a journey. But
What a long road it's been.
What a long road it's been. But he was rightfully dragged for that because Boston has had unreal success in sports across all of their pro teams. And so there's a heavy eye roll happening on the part of fans everywhere. So I know the Celtics will say, first time in 30. That's amazing. Wow, finally we did it. But that's why sports fans everywhere are going, yeah, I don't feel for you.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Bryson DeChambeau beat Rory McIlroy by 1 stroke to win the 2024 U.S. Open. What's the real headline?
He lost out on a couple million in the U.S. Open, but at least he won't lose $50 million in a divorce settlement.
Facts. It's cheaper to keep her, okay? Work it out. But I felt bad for Rory, man. He choked. He choked, man. And DeChambeau had to make some shots towards the end. It wasn't like Rory just gave it to him. DeChambeau entered the day with a couple strokes lead, I believe, and then Rory battles back, and it comes down to the 18th hole. That's what you want out of U.S. Opens or any major at all. Big shout out to DeChambeau's caddy. He's a local dude here from Washington, and he helped Jermaine Kearse. He's one of the co-founders of his facility over there in Redmond. So local ties with this U.S. Open win. And it was crazy because DeChambeau was not a very liked golfer. But everything I'm hearing and I'm reading is saying he's humbling himself. He's becoming more likable. And you know the LIV Tour has to love this, man. Koepka got himself a major, I believe, and now you got DeChambeau with his major. The best thing that PJ did, even though lots don't like it, was to kind of develop that merger and say, look, we have to coexist. But that was a great U.S. Open championship.
What do you make of Rory leaving before not just congratulating Bryson, but not even sticking around for Bryson's speech, for sticking around for anything? Rory immediately left and was criticized for it.
So when I play in these rounds with my buddies, we bet money, right? And there was one round, Stacey, where I was close to like breaking 76 or something like that. And I put 2 in the drink and I'm mad and I left and I just lost $50, right? Could you imagine being in that situation? It wasn't the right thing to do, but he's a human being. He hasn't won a major championship in 10 years, man. 2014, when he started his career, everyone thought he was going to end up with 8, 9, 10 majors, and it just hasn't happened for him. So you know he felt that pressure. I know he felt horrible. I'm sure he has some regret leaving and not finishing his obligations. But if you played golf long enough, you've been there before and you know what that feeling is like, bro. So I feel for you, Rory.
Yeah, I read this really interesting column that was talking about there is no sport that can inflict psychological torture quite like golf. I thought it was interesting. I don't play, obviously, and I don't really watch it. Like, I stay on top of, like, major news that I have to know, but so I read that column, and I think it added some more insight into people being like, we just naturally, sportsmanship and, oh, that's not classy and how dare you. But then a lot of people were saying like, well, God, like, how can you blame the guy?
Golf is the most humbling sport out there. One hole will mess up your whole round. So when these guys put together 4 rounds of great golf and you have the championship in your grasp and you lose it like that, man, it's devastating.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, Mariners 2023 first-round pick Johnny Farmelo will miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL. What's the real headline?
Look, it is a big hit to the Mariners' number 6 prospect, but it shouldn't be to their trade hopes.
No, it shouldn't. And you feel for this young man, 19 years old, was a 29th pick in the 2023 draft. I mean, he was just fielding a fly ball, and you see him go down with pain. The good thing about this thing, if there is a good thing, is that ACLs aren't like they used to be 20, 25, 30 years ago. We're going to have a big scar. It's going to take you forever. He's a young man. He should bounce back. But I'm with you. I don't think it affects anything that the Mariners want to do or can do when it comes to acquiring whatever they want to, whether you still want to bat an arm, infield, or whatever. You just feel bad for him, man. In 46 games in Modesto, he was doing all right. 4 home runs, 25 RBIs, 18 stolen bases, 3 triples, 10 doubles. He was trending in the right direction, made a great impression during spring training. You hate to see this, man. Non-contact, too.
Let's head to the Mac and Jack's text line for fan roundup in our final couple minutes here. Now, this isn't Mariners fan feedback, but I kind of like this point because I disagree, but I'm not a former athlete and you are. The 253 says, as an ex-player bump, you should know more than most. They believe they don't have doubts. I think they're talking about the Mariners here. Only fans and media create doubts. Is that true? I don't know if that's true.
I think everyone deals with some kind of doubt. It's just how you overcome it. I don't think they're sitting there worried about what's going on, but they definitely know the identity of their team. Even that 18-0 Tom Brady team that went to the Super Bowl, I guarantee you there was something that Bill Belichick did not like about that team or Tom Brady didn't like about that team, and they were hoping this didn't show up and bite them in the rear end, and maybe it did in that Super Bowl loss to Eli Manning. I just think professional athletes, especially athletes at the highest level, do a better job of kind of pushing that doubt to the side.
Yeah.
And when you're in those good moments, you ride that wave, man. So there's doubt there, but they just do a better job of controlling it.
We talked about what we learned about the Mariners this weekend. Back to what you guys learned about the Mariners. 206. The thing I learned, you pay Kirby and Gilbert, no doubt. It's not one or the other. Both signed and sealed. That's our future with Julio.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, and go get Vlad. One other thing, and go get Vlad. What do you think about this one? The 360, what they learned from the weekend? You don't need to go get a bat. These guys got what it takes.
They don't need to get a bat. I still think they need a bat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still
they
with
need
that.
a bat.
Well, and I think where they are right now adds incentive to go get one, right? It's not like, oh, whew, wiping sweat off of my brow. Thank goodness they finally proved they can win it all. It's more of like, wow, you've proven how far you can go if you add. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, we're sticking with the Mariners. The Mariners have some really interesting road and home splits, what it tells us about T-Mobile Park. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Your pitching will keep you in any game for the most part. It's
phenomenal.
It's a phenomenal rotation that you desperately need to take advantage of while it's here, while they're together. You've got 4 of the 5 who are in baseball dollars very cheap and very young right now. And you're only going to have that group together for so long. You're also in a year where the AL West is really down.
Probably more importantly, don't you think?
Yeah, the division is there for you to take.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's Dave Wyman for R&R Foundation Specialist. Your home's foundation supports everything that sits on top of it. You know, the most common cause of a settling foundation is a condition in the soil called differential settlement. It goes back to inconsistent soil compaction when your home was first built, which in turn causes your entire home to bend and twist. And what you'll notice in your home when that occurs, sloped floors, bowed or cracked walls, or windows and doors that don't open and close properly. R&R Foundation Specialist raises and restores settling foundations by repositioning the load of your home onto steel piers that they drive deep into the ground. Then they gently lift it back into place with a hydraulic lift. It's a permanent solution to restore your home's foundation and its structural integrity. If you suspect your foundation is settling, do what I did. Have R&R Foundation Specialist come out for free. They'll identify the issue, and they will resolve it. Schedule your free estimate at rrfoundationspecialist.com.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, don't miss the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales event going on now. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win a $500 road trip package. Go to harnishautofamily.com to find a dealership near you. Harnish Auto Family. People matter. See dealership for details.
Mike Salk here for RiversideRoofingLLC.com, where you can enter your address and receive a hassle-free quick quote on your roof replacement within seconds. Do it this spring and save time, money, and get your project done at RiversideRoofingLLC.com, the roofing company you can trust.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Free is key during Craftsman Days at Lowe's. Right now, get one free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, get your choice of a V20 drill or impact driver kit for $69. Don't miss your chance to save on the high-quality, high-performance tools you need during Craftsman Days. Because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 6/19. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and we want to place a special emphasis on prostate cancer awareness and treatment. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among American men. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish CyberKnife. It's one of the shortest and most effective, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and smart home technology, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Everyone knows by now that Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn is the best place to sell your car without the hassle of trying to sell yourself. But what about the hassle of buying a new car? If you're like me, that can be a really stressful experience, and you want to go to a place with people you trust. I'm here with my friend, Mark, from Wayscar Ford. And Mark, you guys have been family owned and operated, and that's really important to you. Tell me why.
Yeah, Stacy, we don't pressure anyone to buy a car. Family owned and operated dealership for over 100 years doesn't stay in business for over 100 years by not taking care of their customers. The one thing I can promise is absolutely no pressure, and every car we sell, new or used, comes with a 5-day or a 500-mile, 100% money-back guarantee. If you change your mind for any reason, no problem. Bring the vehicle back for a full 100% refund.
So whether you're buying or selling a car, Wayscar Ford Isuzu is the place to go. They have the highest Google ratings of any Ford dealer in the Puget Sound region with thousands of reviews, and that trust is so important. Go to wayscarford.com. That's wayscarford.com.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Some interesting splits for the Mariners, home and road splits, what it tells us about T-Mobile Park and the pitching staff. So here is the deal. The Mariners' home and road records are very different. They have one of the best records in baseball. Curtis, is it the best in baseball? I think it's second best in the American League, second or third in the American League at home. That is not the case on the road where they're 16-19. Now, if you were to look at the road splits, it's not like they're a horrible team on the road, but they've been so good at home with one of the best home records that it's natural to go, well, wait a minute. You're kind of playing like two different teams here. What is it? So, Bump, I was looking at the splits between hitting and pitching, and I thought, well, God, I can remember some really bad, like some shutout losses on the road, losses where they didn't give a ton of run support, so it's got to be the hitting, right? So I went and I looked at the hitting splits. Not a huge difference. Really not. I mean, they have like one more home run at home. They have like one more extra or one more double at home than they do on the road. 48 doubles at home, 47 on the road, 41 home runs at home, 40 on the road. Their slugging is actually better on the road. OPS is a little better on the road. So I thought, well, what is it? What is it? What's the difference? Oh, here it is. Let's look at those pitching splits. How about this? Home. They are allowing an opponent OPS of 556 at home. That's far below average. Away, 714. They are averaging an ERA at home of 254. Away, that jumps up to 447. They are a significantly better pitching team at home than they are on the road. Why?
Because this is a pitcher's ballpark. The same things that we we're concerned about when it comes to our bats at home is the same thing that gives our pitchers the advantage. Plus, they're nasty on the mound. So you combine the nastiness that they have as far as the execution, velocity, and all that good stuff with the park itself. It's supposed to look like this. What if it didn't look like this? What if people were coming here or teams were coming here and they were just lighting it up, right? And there were times where they do. People are human. But, no, and I also think there's a factor that no one can measure. There's no data for it. It's just being at home in front of your home crowd. It's different. I was thinking about this segment before we got going, and I started to think about the best performances I had in college. The best performances I had were always at the house. Always at Martin Stadium. I'm not saying we couldn't perform on the road, but you got the crowd behind you. You got momentum on your side. That mental is different. Yeah. You might get some hometown cooking sometimes with these referees. That's something that people can't really measure. But I think it's just because of the ballpark. I think these pitchers are taking complete advantage of this thing. The best rotation in baseball, one of the hardest parks to hit. With those powers combined, this is what you get.
God, and that extends to the bullpen. 14 saves at home, 8 on the road. I think you're right. If we're going to point to T-Mobile Park and go, oh, well, maybe that impacts hitting, then you're right. I wonder how much it inflates those pitching numbers. I don't think that, the Mariners are secretly a bad pitching staff that just benefits from playing in a pitcher-friendly park and they look crazy good at home and then suddenly, fall apart. I think that there is a pitcher's park aspect to it. You're right. I would have that also as my number one answer. And the second one, I wonder if it's you talked about a mentality. I kind of wondered that. I wonder if it's bad luck. I looked up the difficulty of the road schedule and home schedule, and it's about split. They've played really tough teams at home. They played the Braves at home. You know what I mean? They've played the Astros and the Rangers, obviously, Kansas City. So it's not like they've had this incredibly difficult road schedule where those numbers drop, and that's why. It's just there's some weirdness to it that doesn't have an explanation is what I've settled on. But maybe that's unfair.
When do you just went to Boston?
I did.
Right? Went to the East Coast. You're pretty much, a resident of the East Coast now. You love the East.
Yes, it's East Coast. I'm still on East Coast time.
Still on East Coast time.
I'm still on East Coast time.
Excuse me, guys. She's still on East Coast time.
I'm still on East Coast time.
I guarantee you had your best sleep when you came back home.
1,000%.
The mental was better. The body. Now, it's a great experience going on the road and seeing all the things that you saw, but there's nothing like sleeping in your bed, waking up, going to your kitchen, walking down the street, going to your coffee shop. Those are things that just aren't measurable. I understand that the better teams are good home and away, but if you're going to take care of something, remember back in the day, Under Armour, click, clack, protect this house, right? We played Auburn in 2007, man. They had the illest intro I've ever seen. And they made sure we saw it, too. We're on the sideline. Click, clack, click, clack. We must protect this house. And they run out that thing and 100,000 get going. I go, oh, damn, bros. We in for a tough one. There's something about being at the house, man. And then when you're at T-Mobile Park and you have all the other elements that help your pitchers out, it's just a recipe for success at this point. I would love for these guys to be better on the road because I think it's difficult to sustain any type of excellence in anything. It's just hard. You're going to fall at some point. You got to climb yourself back up. But if you're going to do anything, you got to be good somewhere. Might as well be good at T-Mobile.
Yeah. Look at the records of the teams they've played on the road versus away. I'm sure their schedule has been tougher on the road than at home. No, they had a tough schedule earlier in the year compared to a slightly softer schedule now, but there's not a dramatic split that I could find. The split I am interested in that I currently can't find, if someone can find it for me, is the starter versus pen splits. A lot of texters noting hey, I feel like I remember some bullpen meltdowns on the road. The only thing I can find is that the save numbers are very different. Another person says, and I'm going to throw this question your way, can we say they're the best pitching in baseball? When they go on the road, they get lit up. Now, I did look at right now the best pitching in baseball belongs to the New York Yankees. Their home road splits are much smaller. They have far less of a difference. For instance, their ERA at home 301, on the road 304, slash line allowed. Well, actually, no. Let's look at OPS allowed. I feel like that's more indicative. 635, 656. They're relatively the same.
Yeah. Some teams are just built different, right? Let's see. I'm anxious to see what the Dodgers look like now that Mookie broke his hand. What are you going to do? But because you spent so much money to ensure that if a couple guys don't perform, you should be okay, they should be all right. This team ain't built like that. This team we talked about them maturing, right? So I'm not calling them an immature team, but a team with less experience, I would expect them to be better at home. They're more comfortable. A team that is battle-tested, a team that has superstars, a team that has pitching lockdown, bullpen lockdown, defensively they're good. That game travels. In golf, that's the toughest thing to do, right? My handicap got down to a 7 at one point, Stacey.
Wow.
Down
Out
to
of
a
10?
7. Got down to a 7, but it was fool's gold because I play Echo 7 out of 10 rounds that I play. So I know the course, I'm comfortable there, and then I go down the road somewhere and I shoot an 89, 90, and the game doesn't travel because I don't know that course that way. I think that's kind of what we see with this ball club is that, look, when they're at home, they're good. They know the lay of the land. They understand the fans. The guys on the mounds are going to be good. Now teaching that game how to travel is going to be the next step. And you know what? I'm excited to see that because it's so tough for us to completely buy into what we're seeing. I think we're starting to buy in, but I'm always looking for the next step. What's the next thing they can show me to make me believe even more that they can make this run into the playoffs? I think that's it right there. So even though it's concerning right now, I think that's something that we can look for now and say, all right, what's the next step? How do they start winning on the road?
All love to this texter, but can I tell you a tiny, tiny pet peeve of mine? I just have a natural curiosity. You as an analyst certainly have a natural curiosity for why numbers reflect the things that they do and figuring out what it is they actually reflect. The 253, it's baseball. Okay. The Yankees have great pitching right now. The Orioles have really solid pitching. They've taken a step forward there. Why is the ERA difference, road versus home, so much closer for the Yankees? And then even for the Orioles, though they are worse on the road as a pitching staff, but the difference is so much smaller than it is for the Mariners. Why? I don't think that your answer can be, well, it's baseball. Well, why? Why? Here's the deal, and here's the reason that we're even talking about this. The Mariners are about to hit the road.
Mm-hmm.
They have an off day today. You can check in at 7 p.m. for Extra Innings, hosted by Curtis Rogers. 7 to 9.
Actually, not tonight.
Just kidding. You
NBA
can't.
Finals tonight.
NBA Finals tonight. Don't forget that. It's something I mentioned earlier in the show that I should remember.
If there were no NBA Finals.
Then you would definitely get Extra Innings. Okay, NBA Finals tonight. Scratch that. They are about to, starting tomorrow, have a road series. They're going to face the Guardians. Tough. Then they get a chance against the Marlins here. The number one thing you're probably going to be looking for now, how's that pitching?
Yep.
How's that pitching on the road?
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because you know that there's a difference, and it's interesting. You want to know why. You want to know why because you're a Mariners fan. You go, why? Tell me why.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but an ERA.
Okay, off the dome.
It's not really like bars, though. Anyways, Bump, I like your explanation for it being park factors and just kind of like a mental thing. But I'm curious to see how they do on this road series coming up here. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Robert Saleh says the NFL is currently in phase me. Here's what that means.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run. You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open. Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
It's this commitment, this philosophy that represents the LJ way.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's Ultimate Speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go to ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 6/23/24, restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabits per second of Verizon 5G Business, AT&T Wireless Broadband, and T-Mobile for Business. Up to 3 times download for existing essential and standard internet customers.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Stacey Rost here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 3rd Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
Oh no, your furnace died. Don't fear, call Deere. Deere Services. We'll be there within 3 hours guaranteed. Bookmark DEARservices.net.
Motorcycle accident cases require a thorough investigation by a team of experienced legal professionals if they have any chance of being successful. Insurance companies, juries, and even the police tend to assume the worst about motorcycle riders. Get help from an experienced team of attorneys that have successfully resolved hundreds of motorcycle accident cases over the past 30 years. Call Davis Law Group for a free legal consultation or get my free book on motorcycle accidents at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
June is Men's Health Month, and we want to place a special emphasis on prostate cancer awareness and treatment. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among American men. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish CyberKnife. It's one of the shortest and most effective, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Do you have a musty, damp, or wet basement? As the soil around your home becomes saturated, pressure pushes water through the tiniest of cracks and joints in your walls and floor. Moisture and water can not only damage your basement with mold and musty odors, it can also impact the health of your family. Matt Vey can install a custom-designed waterproofing system, transforming your basement into dry, healthy, usable space.
Do it the right way, the Matt Vey way. Rock built, rock solid.
The longest day of the year is June 20th. Take advantage of the upcoming solstice and book rounds from sunrise to sunset at 12 different premier courses. From Bellingham, Everett, and Marysville to Linwood, Bellevue, and Seattle, even out on the coast, they've got a course near you. Play Interbay, Jackson Park, Jefferson Park, West Seattle, Bellevue, Legion Memorial, Walter E. Hall, Linwood, Cedar Crest, Lake Padden, Ocean Shores, or the Crossroads Par 3. The courses are in great shape and ready for your next round. Visit PremierGolfCenters.com to book your tee time.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You know I love a bar. And by that, I mean a rhyme. I don't mean like going to the bar. Not a big drinker. Robert Saleh says the NFL is currently in phase me.
I feel like we've had a really, really good set of OTAs when you look at phase 1, 2, and 3.
we've kind of termed the next 40 days of football the phase me period, where they're kind of players are left to their own devices, but there's a lot of players who have lost or won jobs over the next 40 days. This is league-wide. And so the challenge for our players and really any player in the NFL is to attack these 40 days with the mindset to come into training camp in the best shape they've ever been so they can have the most productive training camp ever. So the message to our players is don't stop now. It's not vacation. We're entering phase me, and attack it in the same manner that they've attacked the entire offseason.
Robert Saleh's talking about the Jets, of course, as head coach, but this same logic applies to the Seahawks and every team around the NFL because the NFL is currently entering its summer break, and players have a lot of me time to focus on. This phrase, phase me, from Robert Saleh, really stood out to you.
Yeah, it did. Before I get into it, man, Aaron Rodgers is always in phase me. He's
Always.
like, Coach, I've been here already. It's always phase me.
You need to be in phase we.
Phase
you know
we,
what I mean?
exactly.
That's what I'm
There's
saying.
your bar.
Thank you.
There's your bar.
Okay.
But this is a tricky period. Now, there are a lot of guys, most guys in the NFL, right, are going to take this opportunity, spend time with family. They're going to work out during their vacations. If Russell Wilson was here, he'd have guys flying down to San Diego, wherever his house is, to work out. I mean, this is a time where players have to be true professionals with how they prepare their body. Now, there are going to be times where you're going to get situations where a player might have too much to drink or he's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Who among us?
It's going to happen. There are so many players in the league. If you look at the 4 major sports, the NFL has the biggest roster. So, therefore, you have more opportunity for guys to mess up just because of sheer numbers. It's going to happen. But this is tricky. I remember my first phase me section. I had to make sure that I was getting up every single day. I tried to mimic the schedule we had when we were training here in Seattle. I got up every single day, did my workouts, ate good. I would stay away from my boys for about 3 or 4 days at a time, then kick it with them again and say hello. But this is where you got to prepare your body because you could have left this training camp or this mini camp feeling real good about yourself. My body's feeling good. I finally got in shape. I understand the playbook and throw it all away with 1 or 2 bad decisions during this period of time. So I love that Robert Saleh phrased it that way. It's phase me. It's about you. What are you going to do to help or hurt this team? Hopefully you're doing something to help and not hurt the squad. But it's inevitable. Somebody somewhere in this league is going to make a bad decision and find themselves in the paper somehow.
I loved it, too, for all the same reasons. And I love the way you broke it down because it's entirely about accountability. Like, this is if I were a head coach, this would be a time that would make me a little bit nervous. And it's not because I wouldn't think that our team had drafted the best players and developed the best players and traded for the best players and, we're really ready to do this thing. But these are 20-something-year-olds. Some of them are 20-something-year-olds with millions of dollars for the first time in their lives. And some of those 20-something-year-olds with millions of dollars for the first time in their lives have been people who have grown up never being told no.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, there are going to be people on every single team in the NFL that are going to have to learn accountability when they get to the NFL. Like, that doesn't just come with the territory of, like, bump, you were undrafted, you came here, you knew that, like, I need to earn this. There are people that are on these teams going, this is mine already.
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm fine. Think of how, this isn't to, like, baby someone like that, but think of how hard it is to make yourself be accountable when you know, I'm set. I would have to do something insane to lose my job. I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to hang out with my friends. Maybe if your friends aren't in the league or maybe they're also young, they've got a lot of downtime. Like, there is this kind of period of a lack of accountability that feels very normal.
Yeah, it's this is where the veterans come in. This is where they have to attach themselves, and you can't do it for everyone, right? There's no veteran that kind of attached themselves to me because they're like, I don't know, this dude gonna make the team. But for those dudes who are guaranteed to be on the squad, who have gotten paid and got their money, a veteran has to check in on them, make sure they're okay. There's actually one veteran who checked in on me. Curtis, tell me this name rings a bell. Was it Brian Wilson, safety for the Seahawks back in my day?
Josh Wilson?
No, not Josh Wilson. He was a corner.
Brian Russell.
Brian Russell, thank you.
He checked in on you.
Brian Russell.
And you could
Yeah, Josh Wilson. You threw hands with Josh Wilson, right?
Yeah. That was, another story.
Time.
But he would check in on me because we had the same high school coach. He went to Bishop Ahmad in California. My head coach was there and then went to Culver City. And I remember he would always just, hey, Bum, how you doing?
Aww.
Remember, this is a long season. And I walked in one day with this watch, this nice watch, Stacey. Ooh, it had the white band on it. It had that rose gold with the diamond sparkling on it and stuff. And he goes, "Bump, man, like, how much did you spend on that watch?" I said, "Dog, $100, man. This thing ain't real. This ain't real."
There you go.
I go, because I'm in the league, people are just going to assume that it's real. But little things like that. And I remember him telling me, remember, 16 weeks, then that money has to last. He goes, remember, when you come back, man, you're third or fourth in the depth chart. You got to be in better shape. Yeah. He would always just check in on me every now and then and make sure I was good. I think he felt obligated because we had the same high school coach. He's just showing love. So that's why I'm like, okay, who's going to check in with Byron Murphy? I mean, because he's not from, obviously, the West. He's from down south. Who's going to check in with him? Hopefully Leonard Williams is checking in. Who's going to check in with Haynes? I think he's the last person you got to worry about, though. Haynes is locked in.
They named an award for him at Connecticut about, like, doing good work.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing your homework
He
on
was
time.
still there, and he had an award named after him. But this is where the team, I feel like, is one of the this is when they have the opportunity to really gel when they're away from the facility. This is when guys go on trips together. You meet each other's families. You work out together. So this is where the veterans come in, man. So I hope and I know that Gino's checking in. I know that Jay Reed's going to check in, Leonard Williams, all these veterans, man. Look after these young dudes because there is somebody who is going to make a bad decision. If you can save a couple dudes from doing that, you're going to help your squad.
And again, it's not to shame anyone because that's so normal. Like if you were me at 22, giving me $3 million or $1 million or $100,000 and told me I had 6 weeks off, I'd hit them all. This would have been a different time. Now you're hitting Amazon. I'd hit them all. I'd hang out with friends. I'd be eating a ton. You know what I mean? I would be wasting money and it would be natural to be like, finally, I don't have to do 2-a-days or I don't have to do practice or I don't have to, I'm going to relax. I'm going to take it easy. And this league quickly filters that person out, unless you're a freak athlete, right? But it's just really interesting. I hadn't heard that cut until you pointed it out. It's fascinating. It's a conversation that we'll be having about the Seahawks over the next couple of weeks, and it's one that I guarantee you Mike McDonald is thinking about right now.
Oh, for sure. His final meeting was, all right, guys, go out there, make good decisions. Remember who you represent. Come back ready to go. This is not a time to take it easy. Go out and have your vacations, but the real ones even work out during their vacations. You got to make sure your body is ready to go.
A lot to talk about with college football, where it's going, and who the Seahawks drafted. Pro Football Focus college football analyst Max Chadwick joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
He is the one, the only John Morosi with us. They need at least one bat at the deadline. But just as quickly, number two is they are good enough that adding a bat is such a clear and obvious approach that the front office has no choice but to do it. This time, this season, with the rotation as strong as it is as clear of a buyer as I can remember covering.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
On Saturday, July 6th, Jackson Smith and Jigba will host the Seattle All-Star Softball Classic, presented by Wade's Lifestyle at Cheedy Stadium, featuring your favorite athletes and celebrities. Tickets start at just $25. Go to SeattleAllStarClassic.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here. Get bonus days to save during Window Nation's semi-annual sale now through June 30th. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate. Call 866-90NATION or go to windownation.com.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here. I recently met with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing, to talk about a metal roof which can last twice as long as ordinary shingles. Asset Roofing is seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job, and that allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give MVP's Pro Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not an MVP's Pro Rewards member? Join today.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day. And smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Suit up in your sweetest stars and stripes for July 4th weekend at T-Mobile Park. The Mariners are celebrating with a post-game fireworks show on Wednesday, July 3rd, presented by T-Mobile. America's pastime and fireworks? It's a patriotic palooza at the park when two of the AL's best, the Orioles and Mariners, square off at 7:10.
He struck him out! What a night, George Kirby! A dozen punch-outs.
Catch two great shows for the price of one. Mariners baseball and a fireworks spectacular featuring a dazzling display of red, white, and Mariners blue. Visit Mariners.com to get your tickets and check out all the action coming to T-Mobile Park this summer. Be here for a 3-game weekend series versus the Blue Jays July 5th through 7th. And more fireworks nights, including the T-Mobile Park 25th anniversary show on July 19th. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Well, we were all hoping for good news from the feds, but without any rate cut in sight, Americans are still paying crazy high rates on credit cards and other loans. Don't wait for things to get worse. If you're struggling, act now. Hey, this is Brock Ewart for my friends at Tila Mortgage. Contact Tila for information on their home equity line of credit, or HELOC. With a HELOC, you can consolidate high-interest bills into one lower, manageable payment while keeping your current low fixed-rate first mortgage. Tila's been helping Washingtonians consolidate debts for over 25 years, and they're experts at purchase and reverse mortgages, too. Take control of your finances and improve your monthly cash flow. Don't let debt payments control your life. Call Tila Mortgage today at 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners got a sweep of the Rangers over the weekend, firmly in first place in the AL West by 8.5 games, largest lead in any division in baseball. This was a fantastic shutout finale on Sunday in front of a sold-out crowd. On Father's Day, Logan Gilbert struck out 9 through 8 innings. The Mavs forced Game 5 with the third biggest blowout win in NBA Finals history. That game is tonight in Boston.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Pro Football Focus college football analyst Max Chadwick joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Plenty to talk about. Max, how's it going? Happy Monday.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We are we're having a great day. A little overcast here, but still really enjoying a Mariners weekend. We, though, are switching, obviously, to some college football talk. A lot to discuss. Me and my co-host, both from Pac-12 schools. It's going to be a weird one for both of us now heading into some very different seasons here. I'm going to start with Washington's switch in conferences before we get going. I'm so curious about this program. Obviously, I'm invested as an alum. I have no idea what they're going to look like. New head coach, a million new players. They lost everyone after their national championship game visit. What's your expectation for Washington this season?
Yeah, I don't think you can expect them to be, as magical as they were in the past two seasons. Obviously, going from a team that went all the way to the national title game this past season, like you just said, they lost a boatload of talent, including their head coach and star offensive coordinator as well. So it's going to be a different era now for Washington football. And I honestly, I hate to break it to say this to you, but it's kind of wild that they go from a team that made it all the way to the national title game. There's a really good argument that they're not even a top 25 team in the country heading into next year. I think they're probably going to be like a 7-5-ish team, 7-5, 8-4 seems to be the range I think that they could fall into next year. I do like Jed Fish. I do like Jonah Coleman, the running back they got in the transfer portal, but they lost so many of their star players that really was the reason why they made it all the way to the national title game. So I think it'll be an adjustment period for Jed Fish before he really, kicks off his new era in the Big Ten.
I'm going to go over to the other side. My co-host here was a UW alum. I went to Washington State, and we kind of know what's going on with us, right? You're in the Mountain West, and you're trying to get these schools to buy into the fact of maybe making a switch and becoming the Pac-12 Mountain West, whatever you want to call it. What do you think the chances are that Washington State and Oregon State save the West or the Pac-12, I say, whatever you want to call it, Pac-2, I'm not sure what to call it.
Yeah, obviously, I think, Washington State and Oregon State are kind of the two schools that were left behind after all of that, right? And I think, again, it's going to be they have a brand-new roster as well in a lot of ways. So I think, the fact that they're playing basically a Mountain West schedule, I know they're not technically a Mountain West team, but for the purposes of this, they essentially are. They can go above 500 next year. I think 6-6, 7-5 is certainly in the cards. Obviously, you lose your star quarterback in Cam Ward and a bunch of other really key players too. But I still think playing basically a Group of 5 schedule now that Washington State could still expect to make a bowl game next year.
Hey, so instead of focusing on just one school, obviously that's where both of us wanted to start. I wanted to talk about some stuff you've written or talked about lately, and one was especially interesting to me. You pointed out, this was just a couple days ago on X, you said 5 of the last 7 Heisman winners were once transfers, and you talked about top 5 candidates to continue that trend this year. It got me thinking a lot about the conversations that Bump and I have had about the way that college football is changing. I know everyone focuses on NIL deals and the money in college for students, and they kind of see that as maybe an undoing of college football. But I think for us, the transfer portal is hugely impactful, and there's both good and bad to that, right, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. The transfer portal is where the game's heading now. I mean, really, the two biggest changes to college football that's really directing where the game is heading is, like you just mentioned, NIL and the transfer portal, right? And I think, if you're not utilizing one or both of them to the full extent of your abilities, you're going to get left behind. And I think that's what you're looking at Clemson right now, a school that used to be a top 5 program every single year in the past era of college football before we really exploded with the transfer portal and NIL. They were excelling. Now, with Dabo Swinney, who's very against NIL and everything he said, and of course he does not utilize the transfer portal, they go from a national title contender to a team that's consistently like top 15, top 20. So I think you really do need to be utilizing it as much as you can, because if you're not, like I said, you're going to get left behind in college football. So, I think the Heisman stat, I think, is indicative of that, and that, a lot of these top quarterbacks, if, hey, I'm not getting an opportunity immediately, I want to go transfer somewhere else, and obviously a lot of them have been superstars, right? Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, like all these guys we're talking about are first-round picks, and, all of them were transfers at one point. And I think that it's just the era that we're in right now, and that, even though you get a kid to commit to you out of high school, that does not guarantee you at all that he's going to stay there for 3 or 4 years. Like, he might be looking – you got to always be recruiting, honestly. Even the guys on your roster, you need to always be recruiting to get them to stay. That's just the era we're in now.
We know that football is always changing, right? You've seen offenses change. We're seeing younger coaches kind of lead programs now. And I'm worried that the Nick Sabans, the Kirby Smarts, the Jim Harbaughs are going to be guys just that don't exist anymore. How do you see the leadership changing in college football when it relates to NIL and the transfer portal?
Yeah, I think those guys are still around. Like, we still have the Kirby. Like, I still think Kirby Smart's the best head coach in college football. And obviously, it doesn't matter how good of a CEO you are. You better be a damn good coach in order to be successful. And I think that's really what it boils down to. And I do think, again, NIL is huge and transfer portal is huge. And that's why Dabo Swinney, who's an excellent head coach, right, won 2 national titles. That's why he's kind of fallen behind a little bit. But I still think you got to be a really good coach in today's day and age. And we still have some really good coaches in today's day and age. Now, we did lose a couple massive ones, right, in Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh, like you said. But I just think it opens the door for more young coaches to really step up, like a guy like Dan Lanning, for example, right? I think he's an excellent culture builder. He's doing an amazing job at Oregon. He's a rising superstar in college football in the coaching ranks. I think a guy like Kalen DeBoer has done an amazing job at Washington, right? I'm really excited to see if we can do it at Alabama now. Those guys will start to become the faces of college football along with Kirby Smart. So it is a new era that we're in, losing some legendary coaches, but I just think that opens the door, like I said, for more younger guys to step up and take those spots.
Let's quickly look ahead, not to the college football season, but the NFL season, because, Max, obviously you were very, very, very familiar with this past draft class, and I have a question for you, which sounds simple on its face, but I have some rules. I want to know which player you are most fascinated in from the first round to see how he is this season, but I don't want to hear Caleb Williams, Max. That's boring. I don't want to hear Marvin Harrison Jr., Max. That's boring. It's a boring answer. Tell me something that might surprise me, a player that you're very curious about from the first round.
Well, I think, one guy that's very curious, he's not going to see the field this year, but it's Michael Penix Jr., right? It's like, what the heck do you do with that guy? So I think that's one guy that I'm really fascinated, not only for this year, but his career. This is going to be really fascinating. Brock Bowers in Las Vegas is also fascinating. I think you can make a strong argument, and I probably would. He's the best football player in the draft. I think he's the greatest tight end we've ever had in college football, and maybe the greatest tight end prospect we've ever had in the NFL draft. And he goes to a Las Vegas team that already has a great tight end, or an up-and-coming one at least, and Michael Mayer, right? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they utilize those two guys in that room too. So I'm excited to see how he could do. Roma Dunze on the Bears and that loaded receiving core is going to be really, really fun to watch as well. I think those are a few of the guys that I'd point out there. And I think Xavier Worthy and the Chiefs could have a big year as well. Those are a few of the guys I think are very intriguing. And I'm excited to see what they can do in their rookie years.
Man, I was already excited about Brock. Now you got me even more hyped about the young man. Love his film. When we talk about rookies playing in the NFL, man, there was a time when people thought receivers needed 3 or 4 years to get ready. I think with the training these guys get now, the 7-on-7 culture, a lot of these dudes are coming in ready to go. Is there a position other than the wide receiver that you feel like you're seeing more NFL-ready week one type of players being drafted?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think receiver is absolutely the one that you can come in and immediately contribute. I think these edge defenders that we're getting are just getting more and more athletic every single year, and I think that's a position really where athleticism is really important. And guys are able to come in and just excel immediately. A guy like Aiden Hutchinson, for example, was able to come in. Will Anderson Jr., for example, as well, was able to come in and just dominate from the get-go. Nick Bosa a few years ago as well. So I think edge defender is one position. I'd probably say running back as well. Obviously, their careers are a lot shorter, so it is a lot easier for those guys to come in when they're young and excel. But that's another position where athleticism really shines. And if you're an elite athlete, you're probably going to be a pretty effective running back. Now, there is more to it, obviously, but I think those guys, you're seeing more and more younger guys come in and just immediately shine in the NFL. So I would say the edge defender spot and running back, and obviously wide receiver and even tight end you could throw in that mix too. That's where you're seeing guys just come in and excel, because that's really where the game's going right now. The skill position players are doing really well nowadays.
Now, Max, this Seahawks team is such that a conversation about the future at quarterback is just going to be happening. It doesn't matter what Geno does this season or if Sam gets out there and does anything. I think people feel like this is a team, as are many organizations in the NFL, that's in limbo. So all of us have our eyes set on the next quarterback class. However, Max, I've heard it's kind of weak. Tell me a bit about what we're looking at this year.
Yeah, it's wide open, to say the least. I think this last summer, I would say, we knew about Caleb Williams and we knew about Drake May. We knew those guys were absolute superstars. Now, of course, guys like Jaden Daniels came in and really broke out. And maybe that'll happen this year where a guy will break out. I honestly would bet on it happening. It happens basically every year where a guy comes out of almost nowhere and surprises all of us because of a top 5 pick. This year, though, I like Carson Beck. I like Shedeur Sanders. I like Quinn Ewers, but they would have been, they all had an opportunity to declare for this year's draft, and they didn't do it. And if they did, they probably would have been, maybe first-round picks, but more likely day 2 picks in the NFL draft. So there really isn't, a true star like we've had in years past going into the year, which is exciting, right? It's not like Caleb Williams, Drake May. Now it's wide open. A guy like Connor Wegman, who our lead draft analyst Trevor Sycamore from Texas A&M, he actually has him as the number 1 quarterback in the draft. He only played 4 games last year because he got hurt. But in those 4 games, he looked really good. So I think guys like that can really step up and excel. But yeah, it is definitely not as strong at the top as we've seen in past quarterback classes. But I do think it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. I do think there's some depth in the class, but I just don't think the star power is really there, at least right now for.
You mentioned Shedeur Sanders, man. I got a question about him. Give me your eval of him, because I think he throws a good football. He's athletic, not extremely athletic, but it's kind of hard to see through all the extra stuff sometimes that surrounds him, And I think some people use that against him, or they put him up on a pedestal. Like, what are the strengths and weaknesses of his game?
Yeah, I think the number 1 strength is probably something that Colorado is hoping to get more out of this year. He is outstanding from a clean pocket. In fact, he had the 3rd best clean pocket passing grade in the country last year, and the only 2 above him were Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, who were obviously the first 2 picks of the NFL draft. So when he's kept clean, he is outstanding because I think he's a great processor. He reads defenses really well. Obviously, you could see how his dad is a Hall of Fame player just because of how smart he is when he's out there on the football field. So I think he does an excellent job of that. I do think the physical tools are like a B to a C plus. Like, I don't think he's got an elite arm. I think it's good enough. Like I said, I don't think he's a great runner either. So I think all the physical tools are okay. It's nothing that you're going to go crazy over. But I do think he's a very, very smart player. I hope Colorado is a lot better on the offensive line this year to allow him to play within a clean pocket more, because I do think he's a really talented quarterback. But yeah, I think that those are some of the things. And I know there's some quote-unquote off-field concerns with him and stuff like that, and some of the stuff he's been tweeting at former teammates and stuff that obviously isn't a great look for him. But purely on the field, I think he might be the best pocket passer, or one of the best that we have in college football, at least right now.
Hey, Max, last one for me, and it's more big picture, just because this is a conversation that's personally really interesting to me. So curious to see if it is the same for you. I know that so much of your job is looking at kind of like little micro pictures of college football, right? Like, you recently ranked the best secondaries in college football, or interviews with different players, and kind of taking a day-by-day, season-by-season look. But do you ever get into big conversations with colleagues about, like, the future of college football? There's so much change right now.
Yeah, it is a wild time to be in the world of college football, right? This is probably the craziest upcoming season that we'll ever have in terms of all the realignment we got, in terms of the 12-team playoff we have, in terms of the transfer portal booming more than it's ever had before, in terms of NIL obviously booming more than it's ever had before. It is truly a brand new college football that we're not used to, and I think it's going to be really interesting this upcoming season. And again, I don't think it's done changing it. I don't think this is it. I think there's more realignment coming. I think there's more teams that are going to get added to the college football playoff. I think there's a chance that the Power 4 conferences break away from the Group of 5 altogether, honestly, and make 2 completely different levels. I think there's a chance for all of that, honestly. I don't think college football is done changing just yet, which I know is kind of a scary thing to hear for a lot of fans who are sick of all the changes already, but I don't think we're done just yet, honestly. And I think it certainly is a wild time to be in the world of college football, but it's an exciting time nonetheless, too. I'm really excited to see how this sport changes, and especially this upcoming season is going to look basically unique to anything we've ever seen before in college football.
He is Max Chadwick, host of Pro Football Focus's College Football Show. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts, or you can also check it out on YouTube if you prefer that medium. Thanks so much, Max.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you, guys.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what almost went down during the draft that you feel would have been hell for the NFC West?
Man, I love hearing all these rumors, right? Things that could have happened during this draft. And the rumor that I heard recently was that the Rams tried to move up to get Brock Bowers or Byron Murphy. I'm like, goodness gracious. I'm glad that did not happen. That tight end room has Tyler Higbee and Colby Parkinson. I think Colby is due. He's about to have a breakout season. I think he's going to be a big target over there. And then they'll already have Kobe Turner at the DN spot. Could you imagine that defense with Byron Murphy and Kobe Turner holding it down? If they were to work out for the next few years, it'd be one of the best defensive lines in the game. I'm expecting big things out of Byron Murphy, but more weapons for Matthew Stafford. That's what you don't want. They already found Puka Nacua. You got Cooper Kupp over there. Tyler Higbee is already there. That backfield is looking good as well. If they would have thrown Brock Bowers into that situation, that would have been crazy. We just heard Chadwick talk about how great Brock Bowers is. It would have been all bad. So I'm glad that didn't happen. It could be all just he say, she say. Who knows what could have happened? But that would have been bad for the NFC West. Man, I'm glad it didn't go down. Rams are going to be tough either way.
Second down. Why do you like that the Seahawks are having a joint practice with the Tennessee Titans?
I like it. First time since 1991 when they had joint practices with the Atlanta Falcons. I like it because you're in an environment where you have controlled violence. I don't care what you say at an NFL practice. Even if you say, okay, guys, we're going thud. Thud means you wrap up, you don't take to the ground, or you have a live period. You're always or should always take care of your teammates. Now, you go live against the Tennessee Titans, you don't give two you-know-whats about these guys. So it's controlled violence, controlled competition, and then you get to see good on good. That's one versus ones. You're going to see, we won't see it, but Mike McDonald is going to see Geno versus the number one defense, or Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams versus that number one offensive line for the Titans. I love the live periods and the controlness of that. Also, it's going to be Mike McDonald's first time simulating calling a game in as close as live as you can get. And I think he needs those reps. I think Dirty needs the reps. I think Ryan Grubb needs the reps. They don't need the reps in the sense that they're not capable of doing the job, but they need the reps to say, look, here, this is my introduction to the NFL. There's nothing like kind of figuring out what it's going to be like. There's no way to simulate a real NFL game, but this is as close as it's going to get, especially for your starters. You want to see what they can do against good on good. I like this. And you're traveling, right? You get to figure out your schedule, what you do and don't like on the road if you're Mike McDonald and stuff. So it's just the little things, man. It's a great dress rehearsal for the coaches, for the players, for logistics. I like it. I hope he keeps doing it.
Third down. What's a headline you saw that reminded you we are in the middle of June?
Who is Jake Elliott?
Jake Elliott, he is
he's a kicker.
Famous.
Right? I know you know.
Yeah, Curtis, I was busy answering the question, Curtis. He's a kicker, I said.
Who is Chase McLaughlin?
He is a famous comedian.
Who is KIRO Santos?
He is a soccer player.
He's a kicker.
They're all kickers.
Okay.
All right? No one, we care about kickers, but we don't really care about kickers, right? Green Bay Packers are saying, oh my God, we got a three-man competition at the kicker spot. No one cares. No one really cares.
One of these guys has to go.
They're necessary. You
Maybe
need them. It's a skill position. Not too many people can do it. But when I see articles talking about a three-man competition at kicker for the Green Bay Packers, I go, yeah, it's mid-June for sure. Because we running out of things to write about. You're just doing your job. I forgot who wrote it for Pro Football Talk. But, hey, I saw that and I just laughed. I go, I don't care who makes the team. They're going to make the right decision as far as kicking goes. Yeah, I saw that. I giggled. I laughed. And I pulled up all the kickers, and I go, I don't know half of these dudes, man. I know ours. I know Jason Myers. I know Justin Tucker. I know Matt Gay. But, yeah, man, it's a slow – we're getting into that period. As soon as the NBA Finals is done after today, it's going to be even slower.
Now, I say all of that, and yet another pet peeve of mine, I'll just talk about a ton of pet peeves of mine, is when people, because I've not only ever worked in news, but I've worked in news for long enough that you get a lot of slow news day. And let me tell you what, when there is one pro sport that's in season, which is not the case right now, but let's say that it's
going to happen soon, though.
Exactly. Like, let's say it's
in about
July.
a week, it's going to be just baseball.
Yeah, exactly. And you go, yes.
Yes,
Funny you say that. It is a slow news day. Like, what do you want me to talk about? The game that didn't just happen on Sunday? Like, what do you want from us?
What do you want?
What do you
from
want?
Me?
Let's talk about a third three-man race at kicker. You know? God. Fourth down. In-season Hard Knocks has made a shift. What is it? Why are you excited about it?
I like this shift because typically they follow one team. Last year, was it the Cardinals?
I don't even remember.
Maybe Cardinals at some point were
maybe because it's
team.
who took the bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Who took the
Definitely
bus?
was the Cardinals. So instead of focusing on one team, they're going to focus on a division, and I like it. I like it a lot. The division that they are focusing on is the AFC North, and I think all teams have some good storylines. When it comes to the Bengals, Jamar Chase and the return of Cool Joe. You got quarterbacks getting your money now, Joe. What are you going to do to kind of silence the noise about all these guys getting paid? You got the Ravens. This could be the best backfield in NFL history with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. If they both go for over 1,000 yards, which I can really see going down, this Ravens team is going to be tough to deal with. We're already expecting that. But imagine those two and getting the insides, right? How are Lamar and Derrick Henry getting along? What is the OC doing over there to give Derrick Henry the ball in different kind of ways? He said it himself. This is the first time he's not the focal point of a team or an offense, and he kind of likes that. He's that old head, man. The older I get, the more I don't mind is playing the background and blending in with folks, man. And then you got the Steelers. They've had one of the best off seasons, man. They got Patrick Queen. They drafted Fautanu. They got Peyton Wilson, who was one of my favorite linebackers in the draft. You also got Roman Wilson, a receiver from Michigan, who I think is going to be great. Tomlin signs his extension, and then can he go another season above 500? I think that's good there. And then with the Browns, it's all about buyer's remorse. Like, what is Deshaun Watson going to look like? Are you going to be able to go? Is Nick Chubb going to be healthy? Myles Garrett, is he going to be Defensive Player of the Year candidate once again? I think this is a great conference to go after. Probably the best conference in football right now. Lots of things to talk about in the AFC North. I'm glad they're doing this, man, because I think as the season goes along, it's so hard to find stories on one team over and over and over again. When you spread it out over a division, I think there's more to talk about, and this division should be extremely competitive.
Two things. Number one, the dang Arizona Cardinals were 2022's the Dolphins. Thank you to the 253 last year. I'd completely forgotten that. Secondly, have you ever, I'm springing this on you, so it's okay if you don't have an answer, but have you ever looked back and reevaluated something, maybe, especially as a player, but it could be personal too, where you thought, I handled that the wrong way? And it was like a learning moment?
I'm sure it's there.
Yeah,
Stacey.
and maybe you
I'm sure
don't
it's
have
there.
bad, but maybe as a player, that might be easier to narrow it down, or as a coach. As a player or coach, looking back, going, you know what?
As a coach, yeah.
Yeah.
As a coach, yeah. Maybe I flipped out on a kid when it wasn't completely his fault, or maybe I made a horrible call in a situation. Coach, for sure. As a player, I kind of flesh them things. But as a coach, yeah, plenty of mistakes.
Right. I'm sure there are many moments you look back and you go, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, now that I'm looking at it through a different lens, I kind of see things differently, and it makes you grow as a person. But but maybe in that moment you were so sure. In that moment you were so sure you were doing the right thing. That is exactly how Kyrie Irving felt about his time with the Celtics. He talked about it with ESPN and in a pregame press conference. That's coming up next.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Leaps up and he makes the catch.
With voices like Ryan Roland Smith, Gary Hill, and Mike Blowers.
Long-term pitching, if you have that foundation, good things are going to happen.
It makes him so valuable when he's hitting.
This team is a team that's going to have to bunch hits together, put pressure on the defense.
Hear from the players and coaches, and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Drayer.
They find a way to grind it out, stay in the game. I thought it was a really good win for them.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Everyone wants to get the best deal they can when they buy a car. But what about when you want to sell your car? Of course, you want to get the most money possible, but how do you get the most you can without trying to sell it yourself? Well, that's where my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn step in. Not only will they buy your car today, but that's just the beginning. Once they resell your old car, they send you another check for 50% of the profit of the sale of your old car. They've already given back over $600,000 to their customers. Mark, GM of Wayscar Ford, joins me, and it's such a great offer. But to clear up any confusion, is this like a consignment, and how can you offer this?
It's not a consignment, Stacey. A consignment, the dealer that's trying to sell your car hasn't paid you yet. We pay you right up front. No more insurance, no more maintenance. All that's gone. After that's done, we pay half the profit. It's that simple. There's no magic to this. All the money we're saving by not buying at auctions, the shipping fees and the travel, we're giving it back to you. That's how it works.
So get the most money possible at Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn and let them do the work.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, And if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings, up to $17,000 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit LexusofBellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS, lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 1st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! And call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
You gotta love baseball season, but when it comes to your windows, you don't want any curveballs. Rick Riz here, reminding you to trust your clubhouse with locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Experience the difference with high-quality products, expert installation, and top-notch customer service. It's always a home run with Pella. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Just go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
At State Roofing, we don't just install roofs, we build peace of mind. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing, and we stand firmly behind our work, protecting your investment for years to come. Backed by warranties that offer you protection, reliability, and trust long after the project. Take advantage of our zero down, zero payments, and zero interest today. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com for a free estimate.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the Everett 3-on-3 tournament July 13th and 14th, presented by Boeing. 4 players to a team, 2 days of exciting action, 1 incredible tournament. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. Get your team registered today. Go to everett3on3.net to sign up your team. That's everett3on3.net. A special thank you to event sponsors Amazon, City of Everett, Snohomish County TPA, McLean Insurance, and Scott Dahl Real Estate.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see and hear about on your own timeline. We'll start with the NBA Finals happening tonight at 5:30 p.m. You're going to hear that right here on Seattle Sports. Ahead of Game 5, a Mavs star, Kyrie Irving, had some really interesting things to say about his forgettable time with the Celtics. If you're not a Kyrie or a Celtics or a Mavs fan or an NBA fan, I think this conversation in general is a really interesting one, mostly for the second part, which we're going to get to in a second. He was traded to the Celtics back in 2017 and talked about what didn't work.
I think that's what I struggled with initially, was figuring out how I'm going to be a great player here while winning championships, while also leading a team and selflessly joining the Celtics organization or the cult that they have here, and that's what they expect you to do as a player. They expect you to seamlessly buy into the Celtics pride, buy into everything Celtics, and if you don't, then you'll be outed. And I'm one of the people that's on the outs. I'm perfectly fine with that. You know what I mean? I did it to myself.
Now, Bump, you can hear this, and it sounds like he'd be talking trash, saying, the Celtics have a cult here, and you have to buy in. But he said he should have embraced the organization's titles.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I talk smack about Boston all the time. I'm a Laker fan, right? But when it comes down to it, you realize the historic importance of the Celtics to the NBA, right? Won a bunch of championships. Bill Russell was over there, a bunch of other great players. And it's important, or people feel like it's important, that you show that type of respect when you do join this club. I'm looking at Kyrie Irving's numbers. It wasn't because of the numbers. I mean, he averaged 24 points in 1 year, 23 points 1 year. Shot 40% from three-point, field goal around 50%. He was a good basketball player while with the Boston Celtics, but when you deal with a franchise with the history and the tradition of the Celtics, you got to come correct. And these people will let you know. We know that East Coast fans are a bit different than West Coast fans. And if you don't go out there and show the respect, they will boo you. If you don't show the pride that they think that program deserves, they will boo you. So for Kyrie to reflect 6-7 years later and realize that, look, I might have handled that wrong. Again, this is the beautiful part of Kyrie's journey. He's not going to win an NBA championship, but it's more than just winning, man. With him, it's about just being a good person, good dad. I don't think he's ever been a bad person, but some of the things that he did and said made people feel like he was. But I've heard people say that they've spoken to many of Kyrie's teammates, and a bad person is never anything that is said about him. But when you deal with a fan base like Boston and you don't show the respect they feel like they deserve, it can cloud the way people think about you.
What I'm hearing is also you don't see Mavs in 7. Wow.
Nah,
the
not
disrespect. I actually really like Kyrie's answer to ESPN's Ramona Shelburne. She had a feature based on some interviews with him that was published on ESPN.com today. Another thing that he mentioned is, unsurprisingly, some behind-the-scenes stuff with the Celtics. I like you mentioning Kyrie's numbers because it's always interesting when a career ends not because of injury, not because of numbers, not because of a performance, but because of something else. Because that something else always speaks to like what works in the culture of sports. That's the interesting part. You don't have to be an NBA fan. You don't have to be a Kyrie or a Celtics fan or anything to find this next part interesting. He talked, Kyrie, about managing the Celtics locker room, and he said, back then, I didn't know how to manage personalities. I went into every day feeling like I have to be better than my teammates. We were very, very competitive. And the one thing I always instilled in them when I first came there was stop being afraid to challenge the other guys. That was something we shared as younger players. We wanted to establish ourselves as a great team, so that's how we got started. Now, me just reading that, you listening to it might be thinking, well, what's wrong? Challenge yourself, challenge other guys, whatever. But his entire point is you need to know how to read a room. You need to know what a locker room needs. You need to know what a team needs. And you also don't need to simply focus on being better than your teammates. Like there's so much subtlety that comes with being a leader on a team, and he was not good at it yet.
This is the guy, I always think of this clip. There was a clip where Kobe Bryant and Kyrie Irving are in USA basketball camp, and he's a rookie. And the way he's talking to Kobe Bryant is like, hold on, bro, this is one of the greatest of all time. Yes, you can challenge, but there's a certain amount of respect that needs to be there. And he seemed like just a self-centered young man who wasn't aware of exactly what he was doing. So as you're describing the way he used to attack the locker room, I thought of that clip and said, yeah, that's exactly who he was. There's an arrogance that comes with Kyrie Irving, an arrogance that has gotten him to Duke, gotten to Cleveland, game-winning shots, and gotten him here into the NBA Finals. So you can't lose that, but you learn how to taper it down, when to turn it up and when to turn it down a bit. And that's what I'm hearing, man. When you're in the league as long as he's been 12 seasons now, if you're not learning from those type of mistakes, then it's a wrap for you. But it sounds like he's on a good journey and understands that, you know, you ain't always got to be the alpha aggressive type of dude, especially when you're Kyrie Irving. You got to rep. You're one of the greatest, if not the greatest ball handlers of all time and finishers in a paint forward guard. It's about uplifting everybody else at this point because you've done everything that needs to be done.
I loved this from Ramona. Iron sharpens iron, desire to improve. are hallmarks of a great basketball team, but the line is thin between that and creating division.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
It's absolutely true. Competition can breed greatness, and then there's just a little turn it makes, and it's quick and it's sudden, and the downfall is great, and it becomes divisive.
And I'm sure what he was doing when he was doing it, he thought he was helping the team.
1,000%.
You know, but he was probably hurting the team.
Next up, sticking with the NBA, Charles Barkley says next year will be his last on TV.
You know, there's been a lot of noise around our network the last few months. And I just want to say, I've talked to all the other networks, but I ain't going nowhere other than TNT. But I have made the decision myself, no matter what happens, next year is going to be my last year on television. And I just want to say thank you to my NBA family. You guys been great to me. My heart is full with joy and gratitude. But I'm going to pass the baton at the end of next year. I hope the NBA stays with TNT. But for me personally, I wanted you guys to hear from me because I'm not doing any more interviews. Don't y'all be calling me. Nobody calling me. I'm not talking about this again, but I want to tell my NBA TV and TNT family that I'm not going to another network, but I'm going to pass the baton to either Jamal Crawford or Vince Carter or you, Steve. But next year, I'm going to just retire after 25 years, and I just want to say thank you, and I wanted y'all to hear from me first.
I love Charles Barkley, man. This is such a bummer. The entire situation happening with the NBA's contracts and Turner's contract with the NBA is kind of sad.
The best shows when it comes to just sports, to me at least, are the ones where you feel like guys are just sitting around, guys or women are sitting around and just talking ball. When you get that from a future, I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame yet. Is Charles Barkley in the Hall of Fame? Anyway, a Hall of Famer and another Hall of Famer and a two-time champion. That's invaluable, man. It's like they are explaining the game of basketball to you in a way that you can understand it, but also in depthly in ways that you never even thought of the game while making you laugh, man. And Charles has been a big part of that. I didn't even realize he's been on the mic 25 years. That's crazy to me. It seems like about a decade. But they're going to lose something special, man. This is the best pre-halftime show on television, man. There are some guys. I think Jamal Crawford is going to do a great job. I love Jamal Crawford. Very insightful, knows the game. I think Vince Carter is going to do great as well. But there's no one who's going to have the delivery and the candidness of a Charles Barkley. He can get away with anything. He could say anything on television. No one's going to say anything to him. He will be missed on TV, but we got one more year.
What'd you make, by the way, of Barkley's comments? Now, this is several days ago about the Celtics' effort in Game 4. He called it unprofessional. It was kind of controversial.
Unprofessional. I think there's just no urgency. They knew that they got this game wrapped up. I'm sure they're not going to say, let's throw this game so we can go back to Boston. But when you got a team down 3-0, if you don't have that killer instinct in you, which I think Boston is trying to develop, it can bite you in the butt. So when they win this championship, I think they're going to be good next year for the next few years, and they'll learn from this situation. But, hey, Charles calls it how he sees it. I ain't mad at him.
Deion Sanders may or may not have forced players to attend a Lil Wayne concert that his son Shador opened for. Now, I do want to start this by saying that Deion Sanders Jr. has since denied the report. This is all hearsay. This is all just like a random report. It's just funny. It's just funny. So Athlon Sports originally had it, and they basically said a source told the author of this Athlon Sports article that it wasn't outright said, but was made understood that it was mandatory for players to be hitting up this concert where Shador would be opening for Lil Wayne, and it was like, oh, daddy ball, at its finest. Deion Sanders Jr. since retweeted it and basically just laughed it off.
First off, if you got to force these young people to go see Lil Wayne, you better respect your elders. Weezy F Baby, one of the greatest rappers of all time. Y'all should be wanting to go to that thing anyway, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was true. I mean, Deion Sanders, say what you want about him. He loves his kids, and he is going to do everything he can to put him in the best position possible. And it's unfortunate that he gets knocked for that because he has resources, because he's Deion Sanders, one of the greatest of all time. It's almost like people are jealous that he's able to provide these opportunities for his kids. And you could be jealous, but I guarantee you, man, if you had the reach that Deion Sanders had, you do everything you can for your kid.
A bold declaration from a college football analyst coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Since 2016, when Scott took over, they are 227 and 172. Wow. In one-run games. Could you do a little math for me, Justin, and figure out the percentage?
56.89.
That's tremendous. And I think you do have to give a little credit to Scott's service. In my book, I think Scott's one of the best managers in baseball. Does the team get along? Do they play hard? Do they quit? Do they play clean? Does he manage the pen well? And do they win close games? And Scott's done a heck of a job in all of those things.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, if you're taking Viagra or any other pill for ED, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I want to continue to do this for the rest of my life? If you're like most men, the answer is no. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we can restore blood flow naturally without pumping your body full of chemicals like you've been doing. Guys, you need to come in today and fix this problem now. Why are you putting this off? Viagra's not going to magically start working next week, and you don't want to use shots or go under the knife. Call us today and speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today like the thousands of men who already have. If you're tired of dealing with ED or Peyronie's disease, then call West Coast Men's Health.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and Swedish Cyberknife wants to make a positive difference in the life of someone listening right now. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among men. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. Right now, it is estimated that more than 3 million U.S. men are living with prostate cancer. As men increase in age, their risk of developing prostate cancer increases. About 6 in 10 cases are found in men over the age of 65. Men with relatives, fathers, brothers, sons with a history of prostate cancer may be twice as likely to develop the disease. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked, even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish Cyberknife right here in Seattle. It's one of the shortest, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Swedish Cyberknife physicians publish a 97% effective rate. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Everyone loves a road trip. Start yours at the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. Just stop by your favorite dealership, Volkswagen of Puyallup, Subaru of Puyallup, Kia of Everett, Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup, or Chevrolet of Everett, and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and summer in Western Washington, it means trips to the beach, summer barbecues, golfing, that vacation maybe you've been looking forward to. When you take pictures this summer, don't you want to look and feel your best? Well, Eastside Weight Loss Clinic can help, and trust me, you can do it fast. I lost 15 pounds in the first 2 weeks. I lost 35 pounds overall after 8 weeks. There is time. What are you waiting for? Schedule a 15-minute, no-obligation consultation right now at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Here's what to expect. Safe, healthy, sustainable weight loss. No exercise, no pills, no injections or surgery. Eat real food, lose weight, look and feel your very best. That feeling is just on the other end of your 15-minute consultation. What's the secret? Call Eastside Weight Loss Clinic and they'll tell you. 425-588-0080 is the phone number, or go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. It worked for me, and I promise if you do it, it can work for you as well. eastsideweightlossclinic.com or 425-588-0080.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is Bumpin' Stacy
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
A bold declaration from a college football analyst. That's what we're talking about right now. Coming up in 15, Trevor May joins us to talk Mariners, of course. Biggest lead in any division in baseball. Before we get to it, there was something that stood out to you from our interview with Max Chadwick about 40 minutes ago, Bump, and it was this.
Brock Bowers in Las Vegas is also fascinating. I think you can make a strong argument, and I probably would. He's the best football player in the draft. I think he's the greatest tight end we've ever had in college football, and maybe the greatest tight end prospect we've ever had in the NFL draft. And he goes to a Las Vegas team that already has a great tight end, or an up-and-coming one at least, in Michael Mayer, right? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they utilize those two guys.
This is not a Vegas sports radio show, but who cares? Because this line stopped you in your tracks, and I saw you look up at me during the interview and go, whoa, why?
He said the greatest tight end prospect they probably have ever had. And I watched film on Brock Bowers, and I can't sit here and act like I watch a whole bunch of film on tight ends coming out of college over the past 10 years. But it's excited me because you know how I feel about this position, the tight end spot. I think this is a position that has evolved the most over the past 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, how guys can move and what they can do. And it's exciting that someone with the knowledge of Chadwick says, look, Brock Bowers might be the best we've ever seen. He was a first-round pick, 13th overall. Last year, in 2023, Dalton Kincaid was first pick, 25 overall, and Sam Laporta was second-round pick. Second-round pick. Both of those guys have had impacts on their team. And the reason why I'm excited about the tight end spot is because they are a nightmare for the box. They're attached to the line of scrimmage at times. They're doubling down on these DNs or edge rushes. They can release into the second level and the third level. And now they're getting yards after the catch. The greatest tight end of all time is Tony Gonzalez, right? At least for now, we'll see what happens. He wasn't moving the way these guys are moving. And then I go to Gronk. Gronk, one of the best tight ends of all time. He ain't moving the way these guys are moving. And then we can go to, say, like Antonio Gates. I'm probably missing somebody, but that's the next guy that pops up in my mind. He's not moving the way these guys are moving. The numbers these guys put up are ridiculous at the tight end spot. There is a wave of tight ends coming in right now that can change the game a bit. They can be attached to the line of scrimmage. They can move out to the slot. They got mismatches. At first, a tight end was just a possession type of guy. He can get some run after the catch if he's butt naked on a Saturday, right? But for the most part, they just catch the ball, get 2 or 3 yards, and go. The athleticism is crazy when it comes to these guys, man. So when I heard that he was excited about Brock Bowers, that got me even more excited because when I watched the film on this dude, he is moving like a George Kittle and got hands like a number one receiver on the outside. That's all about possession.
I love hearing about players who change the way that offensive coordinators can plan their games, right? And the thing is, not every player is like that. We might speak at large as to how running backs are more integrated than ever in the pass game, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's something every team does. For instance, Seattle doesn't integrate its running backs very often in the pass game. When you do have a running back who can do both, like Christian McCaffrey out in San Francisco, well, you see what Kyle Shanahan can do with that. Now, he also has a fullback who can do both, and he has a tight end who can do a lot, and he's got a wide receiver who can do both. So it really allows him to be versatile. So he's got a lot of weapons. But I like this conversation, and I like it coming from you as someone who knows how to make a game plan, because I'm sure you also think about it from the point of view of an offensive coordinator going, now, wait a minute. Not only is it cool to talk about how certain positions evolve, but how the game plan evolves, how offenses can evolve as a result.
Yeah, tight ends can fool a box. Man, they can down block, then boom, release out into the flat. You get everything flowing to the left. He's down blocking to the left, and bam, he's out in space, and he's getting yards after the catch. George Kittle, last year he had 1,000 yards. He played in 16 games, 65 receptions, 6 touchdowns. You got Travis Kelce with over 980. You got Evan Greenwood over 960. Hawkinson with 960. Sam Laporta with 889. All of those tight ends got that yak in them. So when you look at keys, when you're in the box, and maybe even if you're a safety, some of your keys is to look at the technique of the offensive line and the tight end if he's attached to the line of scrimmage. If they show run, then you automatically snap into your run technique. You're taking your run steps. You're getting downhill. At times, I could imagine a Tony Gonzalez showing run and then him pivoting out into the flat. Yeah, he can do it efficiently, but because he didn't have the wiggle and the yak that these guys have, you can rally to the football a bit quicker. Now it's just the more space you give these guys, the more elusive they can be, but they're also not shortening up when it comes to the run game. It's just tight ends are able to do or asked to do so much. It's fun to watch, man. So when you get an opportunity, I would encourage you, just take a series and just look at the tight end and just one of these more elite, elusive tight ends.
Yeah.
Just take a look at them and see how they influence linebackers and safeties. And when they get out in space, it's fun to watch, man. Whenever I see, it's almost like seeing a defensive lineman scoop a fumble and score. It's like that body shouldn't be moving that fast. It should not be moving like that, but it's doing it somehow. That's how I feel about these tight ends, man. So I'm excited for Brock Bowers, man. I hope he's used correctly there in Las Vegas. Should be fun to watch. And also, I'm excited about the one they got here, too, in A.J. Barner, man. He is a smooth operator, has great hands. Again, it's the evolution of the other position.
Do you want to see Seattle kind of carry that over from Waldron? Because you've mentioned Waldron, maybe given his background as a tight ends coach, was really good at integrating them, but maybe didn't push it quite as far. Like you'd see 2 tight end sets or tight ends in the backfield where you go, okay, what's next, right? Like you talked about that. Are you hoping, is that something they can do with Fant and maybe AJ? Yeah,
I mean, I think Grubb did a great job with Culp last year and, Westover as well. He found ways. If you look at the, I believe it was the Oregon game when Westover had himself a good game. I mean, Grubb, again, because you have the personnel and you combine that with Grubb, and from what I saw from him at UW, everybody's going to get some. And I think Shane Waldron last year was probably just a bit hesitant to really let go and be himself. That's why I hope he has success over there with the Commanders, man, because he has great ideas.
Or Bears, right?
Bears, sorry. Yeah. Bears, yes, sorry. He has great ideas, but I think it's always hard to build off of that and take the next step when you're young in your coordinator career.
Well, and it's hard probably when I don't know what kind of say Pete Carroll had, but Pete Carroll is a guy that's a left cornerback plays left corner. And I wonder how much of that translated over to the offensive side of things where it's no, our running backs aren't going to be huge pass catchers. We want to be this power run team. You wonder always about the relationship between a head coach and coordinator and how much of either is stifled or supported. It's fascinating. Loved this segment. Loved that stood out to you. It's a fascinating conversation. We're switching gears, though. We're getting back to baseball with Trevor May. He joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bobs.
I'm just sort of marveling at the lack of belief in this team. Not that the Seahawks should be considered a top 5 team. I'm not making that case at all. But there seems to be a really dim view of what this team's going to be.
First of all, what was their record last year, Bob?
They were 9-8 with a bad defense. So we all assume that the defense is going to be at least somewhat improved. How much, we'll find out. And the offense is bringing back almost the same cast. I don't see them getting worse.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's Dave Wyman for R&R Foundation Specialist. Your home's foundation supports everything that sits on top of it. You know, the most common cause of a settling foundation is a condition in the soil called differential settlement. It goes back to inconsistent soil compaction when your home was first built. which in turn causes your entire home to bend and twist. And what you'll notice in your home when that occurs, sloped floors, bowed or cracked walls, or windows and doors that don't open and close properly. R&R Foundation Specialist raises and restores settling foundations by repositioning the load of your home onto steel piers that they drive deep into the ground. Then they gently lift it back into place with a hydraulic lift. It's a permanent solution to restore your home's foundation and its structural integrity. If you suspect your foundation is settling, do what I did. Have R&R Foundation Specialist come out for free. They'll identify the issue, and they will resolve it. Schedule your free estimate at rrfoundationspecialist.com.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's ultimate speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go to ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 62324, restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabits per second of Verizon 5G Business, AT&T Wireless Broadband, and T-Mobile for Business. Up to 3 times download for existing essential and standard internet customers.
At Buc-ee's, we'll get you ready for summertime. For over 50 years, Buc-ee's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. Buc-ee's is the largest independent family-owned chain in the Northwest. There's a Buc-ee's just about everywhere for factory maintenance, oil changes, wiper blades, air conditioning, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, everything you need to get you running smoothly this summer. No appointment necessary, and financing's available too. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We all know what UV rays can do to our skin, but they can also do damage to your car. Keep that from happening with 303 Protectant. 303 Protectant keeps the sun's harmful rays from causing fading and cracking in rubber, plastic, or vinyl surfaces. From the dashboard to the tires, 303 Protectant keeps your car looking new longer. Get 303 Protectant today at AutoZone. Visit 303radio.com for more information.
Everyone knows by now that Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn is the best place to sell your car without the hassle of trying to sell it yourself. They pay you all of your cash for your car up front, and then once they resell it, they share 50% of their profit with you. But what about when you're looking to purchase your next vehicle? I'm here with my friend Mark from Wayscar Ford. We know the profit sharing program is great, but why is Wayscar Ford the best place to buy a new car?
Well, not only do we have great prices, but you can shop with confidence. Now, every dealer says they're not going to press you. We do not. You get a full 5-day or 500-mile, 100% money-back guarantee on absolutely every car that we sell. Hey, look, we don't want to sell you a car unless you want to buy one. That doesn't do us or you any good. Okay, but one thing I can promise you is a great price and absolutely no pressure.
So whether you're buying or selling a car, Wayscar Ford Isuzu is the place to go. They have the highest Google ratings of any Ford dealer in the Puget Sound region with thousands of reviews. Go to wayscarford.com. That's wayscarford.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
With their sweep of the Rangers this past weekend, the Seattle Mariners now have the biggest lead in any division in baseball. That includes the Phillies' 8-game lead over the Braves and the Dodgers' 8-game lead over the Padres. It's why MLB.com has the Mariners at number 7 on their newest power rankings, which dropped yesterday. Keep in mind that at one point Seattle was as low as 21st this season. We're going to talk more about the Mariners, including how they can improve at the deadline with Trevor May next.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. You can catch Trevor May on Foul Territory as well as the Athletics Rates and Barrels podcast. Trevor May joins us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Trevor, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
We are happy the Mariners just swept the Rangers and excited to talk to you about one of the more interesting teams in baseball. So let's start with just your overall impression of Seattle. They've had an up and down season offensively, currently though 8.5 up in the AL West. How do you see this team?
Yeah, I agree fully about the offensive struggles at times, things that probably need to be remedied a little bit or to some extent in order to make a deep playoff run. But the pitching, as advertised, has been their biggest strength and has really carried them even farther than I think a lot of people even thought they would. It's tough to kind of go into a season thinking you got a rotation that's a top 3 rotation and a bullpen that's a top 10 bullpen, and then them overachieve a little bit. But it seems to be happening, and they're taking advantage of kind of a weak division that I didn't see coming either. So, having an almost 9-game lead right here, especially with the woes in the batter's box that you just mentioned, is impressive. And they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. So, they lost that one game to the White Sox, but fortunately I was there for one of the ones they won. So, they were close games, but they won them. And then at the end of the day, it's just about having more runs than the other team.
Trevor, someone texted into our show and they said essentially that professional athletes don't have doubts. And I played a little ball back in my day. And I go, no, there's some doubts there. I think they just do a better job of just getting over it and pushing it to the side and focusing on the mission at hand. If there were any doubts these Mariners might have right now, do you think they have any, or do you feel like they're caught up in this moment of where they are now and just trying to ride this wave?
I think as a group, it's weird. It's individually, I'm sure there's guys got doubts about their performance or whatever, but as a group, it seems like they're all kind of feeding off each other, and the guys who might not be, doing as well as they want to right now are still, in it and still bought in, and that collectively as a group, they know how good they are. They know what it takes to get to the playoffs. Last couple of years have been a testament to that, and there's just like one more gear maybe they could go to, and they really just want to win the division and just make it not so close like how it always has been. And that it's the same guys. They have the same core group that's been there the last couple of years. So, they've been there, they've done that. They know what it feels like to just miss. They know what it feels like to make it and to get the job done. So they've had the experiences, and there's not a lot that can surprise them at this point, and that really helps alleviate some of the doubt that might creep in without that experience.
You mentioned they're taking advantage of a weak division that you didn't see coming. What do you think happened this year for the Rangers and Astros, and do you see them staying weak?
I don't think it's going to stay this way. I think we've seen even the Astros, like they've had a couple runs here where they kind of got going and they looked a little bit more like old Astros, and then it kind of evens out. So we might be seeing the tail end of their dominance in the division, if not the end. And guys age, and that's just what happens. But their pitching has just been much worse than I think anyone anticipated. Especially the bullpen came out super slow this year, and I had them their bottom 3 with Presley and Hader and Abreu to be maybe the best in the big leagues. It hasn't really been that way yet. It's getting better. So I think they're gonna be there, probably around a little bit closer. But the Texas didn't really do anything in the offseason. They didn't go sign anybody. Frankly, in baseball, if you get a World Series, it's just two-peating or going back-to-back just is so hard to do in this game because of how different your rosters can be year to year that it's just not something you go out and spend a bunch of money trying to do. So they won theirs, and I don't want to say there's some complacency there, but I don't blame them for being like, hey, we did the thing. We can save a little or just kind of hang around and see what we can do and not have to go all out like we did last year. And then we have the Angels, who are the Angels, and they seem to not quite do as well as people think they're going to do every single year. And then, and I think the story's out there about the A's. So the A's are playing better than I think they were projected to do, at least up to this point. But yeah, if you told anyone that you had the Mariners up 9 games in the mid-June, I think they would have called you crazy. I think they thought the Astros are the big missing kind of domino here, but I anticipate them being, I don't know, closing the gap a little bit, but I don't know if they can fully do it. I don't know if those days are past or not.
Hey, it's always nice to see what the potential is of this team when it comes to some prospects. Obviously, this year you had a couple guys called up lately. Tyler Locklear has been playing some good ball, man. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, Tyler Locklear. I'll be honest. I hadn't heard much about him. I kind of regret the fact that I didn't pay attention a lot to the prospect pipeline a lot when I was playing. A lot of guys, while they're playing, try not to do that because they're usually guys coming to take a job. But yeah, he's been impressive. He reminds me a lot. There's a lot of parallels with him and Ty France, and I think that's a good thing. Ty France is a very good player, and he's a big, strong guy. He's caught a couple barrels recently, and we've seen how hard he can hit the ball and how far he can hit it. So he's been a nice surprise and filling in there. And the young guys have come up and fit right in, and it doesn't look like they're putting too much pressure on themselves, which is great. That's something that sometimes teams that are in this position, they're trying to kind of pull away. The young guys come up and try to make it all happen at once. And I didn't see that when I was at the game the other day, and I haven't seen that much from them lately either. So guys are contributing. It looks like they're comfortable right away. That clubhouse seems like a good clubhouse to be a young guy in. And all of those things are a good recipe for success.
Hey, I got kind of a tough one, but Bump and I earlier were talking about the road splits pitching-wise with the Mariners. And, Trevor, I'm sure you could look at T-Mobile and go, well, it's a pitcher-friendly park, so maybe that accounts for a lot of it. You see a split with the Padres, for instance, too. Whereas not nearly as much of a split with the Orioles or Yankees in their road or home ERA. But what are some of the factors that play into a team performing so much better at home versus on the road in your experience?
Atmosphere is a big reason. I think T-Mobile always has a good atmosphere. Not only myself, I'm from the area, so I'm a little biased, but even guys I played with over the years, this was always one of their favorite cities to go, just because it's just a good place to play baseball. The weather's always really nice, and the fans come out, and we, good, bad, or indifferent. It's a pretty loyal fan base. They love their sports here, so that has a lot to do with it. It's easy to buy into a team when it's like that and you feel like you're part of the community. And I feel like that's something that happens here. And I'll also say there's a certain comfort level, like the longer your group of guys is with a team, or your core is with a team, they set down roots. They have their families here. Like they don't have a house in another town where their kids are going to school and then they try to move them again. Like they live here. And some of those guys have done that, made that transition, become Seattleites. So there's a comfort level here as well. And then, it's a pitcher's park. So that's also really helpful. When you're really comfortable, you're sleeping in your own bed, and your park is really, really helpful for you. There's a confidence level that goes with that. And the more that the media calls them a great rotation, they take that to heart and they continue being a great rotation because they're comfortable. So it just looks like they're all at home out there. And that's not always the case for everybody. And reputation and kind of just perception has a lot to do with that. And when you go into a place and hey, I can give up hard hit balls here because they might still not get out. The Coliseum was that for me last year. It was more comfortable throwing strikes there because it's so big, as opposed to like Cincinnati, where you're kind of trying to stay along the edges because if you miss one and it's popped up, it still might be a home run. If you don't have to worry about that, suddenly you're okay making more mistakes than you would maybe otherwise.
Hey, during the off season, fans have requests and they talk about acquiring free agents, but you got to be attractive, right? These free agents have to want to come here. And I hear you talking about just the way your former teammates talk about the Mariners and the city in general. How much more attractive do you think this team has become over the past, 70, 75 games? And do you feel like if they keep this up, they're more likely to land a big-name free agent eventually?
Yeah, I think it's much more likely because it's always been a fairly desirable place to come play. Even if we're talking about the monetary advantages, there's no income tax here too. So that's another big positive for these guys. So it just comes down to kind of the history and wanting to compete. And there hasn't been a lot of playoff experience here. But as that when the team is competing every single year, I think that the big free agent eyes will light up more and more like, oh, now this is an option because I'm going to go there and we have a chance to go win something as well. That's exactly what you want. So I think that it's a desirable place by itself without the game of baseball, and add the winning ways in there and an organization that gets a reputation as taking care of the guys that they have and prioritizing winning. That's when guys want to go there.
Hey, if you're looking at the trade deadline, this has typically been a team that's been kind of critiqued for having this, hey, we're both a buyer and a seller, and people feel like they've just kind of moved stuff around, right? Now, I don't want to say that with everything. The Luis Castillo trade was a huge deal, but the Paul Sewald trade, the Kendall Graveman trade kind of brought some, I think, fan frustration with it. This is a trade deadline that feels not just for the Mariners, Trevor, but for a lot of teams like it could be kind of aggressive. I know we're still a month and a half out, but you excited for what's coming up here this summer?
Oh, yeah. We got like 16 teams between 30 and 36 wins or something. Yeah. So there's going to be, the wild card's going to be a slugfest for about 7 teams in both leagues, and that's going to make they're going to need a high demand for help. And not a lot of teams selling. So, yeah, it's going to happen earlier. I think that a lot of these things are going to happen, earlier in July, maybe take some shots. So see if you can get something big going. I think that these conversations are probably already happening in earnest all over the place. But it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of speculate because there's just a lot of teams that there's only a few that are out of it, and that even the teams that have really underperformed are still technically going to be in it till later into the season. And they have guys like I'm thinking of the Mets, for example, with Pete Alonso. Like that's going to be a super interesting thing to see what happens because he's a generational home run hitter. So like any team would love him for a run. So it's going to be really, really fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of prospects changing hands for sure.
Hey, what are your thoughts on this bullpen, man? Sometimes they're lights out, and every now and then they give up a couple runs and make things interesting. Do you feel like there will be some additions, there should be some additions, or you kind of just ride it out with this group?
I think they could use maybe one more guy who's maybe a proven guy, but not necessarily someone they need to come and be the 8th inning. I think they're pretty good at matching guys up and then just getting to Munoz because he's the closer. I think he's earned that job. So. Losing Brash was big, was tough. I think he was the guy who was going to be their door slammer, and that hasn't really coalesced. Another guy, but Thornton's thrown some good innings. Bauman's, with the exception of that one pitch the other night, has been good. So he was a good acquisition. I think a guy who's going to be the back end. I think if they went and got a guy like, and this is where it gets really interesting, like in Toronto, who knows what they're going to do. But like a Yimi Garcia type, he's having a great year, and seeing what it would take to get a guy like him. And then if they added maybe an outfielder, if they were able to finagle something to get Louis Robert, that would be massive too. And he's a young guy, and he doesn't have to play center field, and he would just be a big upgrade in a lot of ways, and righty pop. So though, if they did something like that, I think that would be those two guys could be huge for this team because they'd fill in some holes. But who knows what the haul it would take to get them, and I know that most teams are coveting their prospects because guys are coming up at 22 and they're becoming impact players right away. So the wait is long. So we'll wait and see, but those two guys make sense in my opinion.
Hey, Trevor, it's really easy to look at a team like the Yankees, who just came out on MLB.com's #1 power ranking. Unsurprisingly, they've been bouncing back and forth with 1 and 2, but currently #1. They're good at everything. They can hit. Judge is raking. Soto's raking. The pitching staff is amazing. Bullpen is great. And so you look at a team like that and you go, that's a great team. Like, no questions, no notes. Continue. You get to the Mariners, who are 7. So, like, they're a top 10 team on MLB's power rankings, and they're like 26th in OPS, right? Like, there's highlighted notes on the page of this team where you go, they got to do this, or you got to watch out for this. When you look at a team like that, how do you rank them against the rest of the American League? I mean, I've heard some people say, like, I think they're the 3rd best team just because they're like a tough out. And then I've heard other people have them so much lower. How do you see them, and how do you make sense of a team that's so weird? I don't have a better way to say it.
That's what I would have gone with too. It's definitely odd. Having the 26 OPS and being like kind of a bottom, 7 or 8 team in most offensive categories, it's tough to project, how that team's gonna do in head-to-head matchups, and how far can your pitching actually take you. The thing is, pitching does win championships. I think that is still true, but you need to be better than 26th. So I think that projecting that kind of struggling at the plate, you just can't. You have to score runs to win a game. You have to score points, and if you can't score any points, that's not gonna take you very far. So when it comes to like ranking who's the best, I think that when a team is like that in offense, it's just kind of impossible until they play each other. And that's what the interesting thing is. Another team like that's similar to this, Phillies. We're like waiting for the Phillies to play some teams that are over 500 just to see how good they really are. I think the Mariners have that same kind of situation where we got to pay attention to their head-to-head matchups and whether or not they play them at home or play them away. They just have a big home field advantage, one of the biggest ones in the major leagues. And so I think that power ranking swings wildly whether or not they have home field advantage or not in a series. And it's just one of those situations with them. But if they can just get their offense just middle of the road, just middle of the pack, maybe in the AL, or even just I don't know. Bottom 2/3 even out of second to last, that would be huge. That would probably translate into another run a game, and they're showing that's really all they need. They just need one more run.
Yep. My apologies to the Mariners. 25th in OPS. I didn't mean to disrespect them. I didn't mean to do him like that. My bad. But great stuff from Trevor. You can catch more from him on Foul Territory as well as the Athletics Rates and Barrels podcast. Trevor, thank you so much for your time, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, the Mavericks forced to Game 5 with the third biggest blowout win in NBA Finals history. What's the real headline?
It's kind of like that expensive surgery for your 14-year-old dog, though. You know what I mean? Now, I know that that's a little harsh. It's a lot harsh.
It's real.
But it's real. But I'm being honest. I don't want to hear anyway. Stacey, how could you know exactly what I'm saying with this analogy? The Mavs are done.
Yeah.
They are cooked. They are alive. But it's almost time.
I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
When my dog was 2, she ate a whole pound cake and almost died. We did everything we could to bring her back. If she was 14, 15, like, listen, I mean, come on now. How much longer we really got?
What a way to go. You know what I mean? It's like if she's 14, you're like, she died doing what she loved.
Right? She loves some pound cake. But you're absolutely right. They're prolonging the inevitable. No team in the NBA Finals have ever come back from 3-0. One team has done it in the Stanley Cup. No team has done it in Major League Baseball. This is it's over tonight, though. I think there's no way that the Boston Celtics are going to allow the Dallas Mavericks to go into their house and do what they want to do. I think it's a wrap, man. And I hate on the Celtics all the time, but I'm also a realist, and I would love to see Tatum and Jaylen Brown get one. Great 1-2 combo. Jaylen Brown has been paid. Tatum's going to get even more money.
Yep.
They great offseason, acquisition getting Porzingis over there. You got the old man Al Horford. This is a good basketball team, man. They're deeper than the Dallas Mavericks. They should win this ball game. It's a wrap, though. It's go ahead and pack your bags as soon as you show. Don't even unpack when you get to the hotel.
Yep.
All right. And if you do unpack and put your stuff in the drawers when you go to hotels, who are you? I'm concerned about you. So I don't know anybody who actually uses those drawers in the hotel.
I never have. Even if I could be on a place where we are staying. God, I haven't been on a vacation in a long time where it's like 5 days, but like I'll hang up a dress. That's it. That's it.
I mean, my clothes are everywhere.
Yeah. Someone, people talking about comebacks. Someone said, wow, when did you hire Christine Alm? People talking about comebacks. I know it's possible. I know the Mavs can.
3-1. I think someone pointed out LeBron gets awards. It was 3-1.
Yes, but those are different teams. The Mavs have never, with the exception of that complete blowout in Game 4, which is one of the best in NBA Finals history, it's not been close. It's not. They have not sniffed a win.
Nope.
So it's not felt like a series where it's like, whoa, I can't believe that. Now, if the Celtics, the 0.001% chance that they give this away, it will be one of the worst collapses we have ever seen in NBA Finals history.
Yeah.
But the reason the headline is what it is this a wrap?
I would
It's a wrap.
love to see it and hate to see it at the same time.
I'll say this. I read an article this morning that Boston area police are preparing for a finals win. So just know that, like...
Would you say you can't re-enter a bar after halftime? They're keeping people locked in.
Exactly.
Headline Rewrite.
Have that same energy tomorrow when the Mavs win tonight. Okay, we got one Mavs fan that's, stay hating us.
There are actually people that do use the drawers that are texting.
Yeah.
That's
you guys
weird.
are
Really?
There's a closet.
Here's my question that I would like an answer to. What is the length of the stay where using the drawers makes sense to you?
10 days.
10?
10.
Yeah.
I'd say like 4.
Ain't touching it.
Imagine someone, you are staying in a hotel for one full day. Maybe 2 days.
Well, there's no point in unpacking if
What's
you're only there
point?
for a day.
Yeah. I can't do it.
I can't do
and then there's the danger of forgetting something. Yeah, that's reckless. That's reckless and irresponsible.
I went to England for like 10 days and didn't unpack.
I don't think that's weird. I mean, it's a little bit like you're rummaging through things, but I don't think that's weird.
Headline number 2, Bryson DeChambeau beat Rory McIlroy by 1 stroke to win the U.S. Open yesterday. What's the real headline?
He lost out on a couple milli for the U.S. Open, but at least he won't lose $50 million in a divorce settlement.
It's cheaper to keep her. Great advice from my dad when I got married, and he's absolutely right. But this one hurt for Rory, man.
Yeah.
I've been rooting for this guy. It's been 10 years since he's got a major championship. He came in with all this hype. And he just can't win the big one, man. Him and Ricky Fowler. Ricky Fowler finally got a win. I don't think it was a major, but Ricky Fowler got a win last season, I believe. Golf is so dang hard. And when you have an opportunity to close it out like Rory did and you fall short, then you read me a stat, it was like 396 for 396 for putts within
496.
496 for 496 putts within, 3 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I feel for the dude.
And the one time is in the biggest moment.
In the biggest moment. And he just got back with his wife. I'm sure the vibes were good. And he rushed out of there, didn't talk to reporters. People are going to say that's unprofessional. I understand that. But if you played enough golf, you have tricked off a few rounds where you didn't, no 19th hole, no talking to the boys afterwards. You get in your car and you get the heck up out of there.
Yeah, we'll wrap the final headline here. By the way, the response on the Mac and Jack's text line in general to how many days you stay before you unpack your suitcase and put it in the drawers in the hotel room was 3 nights.
3 nights.
So 4 days, 3 nights.
Okay.
I mean, at that point, you've got a pretty full suitcase. We did have someone say, I do it even if I'm staying for 1 day or 1 night.
Really?
What also?
Why? Then you're just packing and unpacking like first
Also,
thing
what
in
are
the
you even packing or unpacking when you're staying for 1 night? Are you taking out like the single pair of jeans and t-shirt that you brought and putting it in the drawer?
Well, you know, people, if you stay for 1 night, you're bringing clothes for like 3 days, though.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I absolutely overpack.
Yeah, all the time.
Coming back from Boston, my suitcase was 48 pounds. I was very proud of myself.
Good for you.
Really proud of myself. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Taking a look around the NFL next. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Do not turn off a Mariner game. Just don't do it. And as frustrated as you may be through 5 or 6 innings, there could be no hit for 7 innings. Don't turn it off, because in the 8th and the 9th inning, there is just a sense of belief. And in that building now, over the last 23 games, 18-5. Something is brewing here in a belief system late in the games. Soto Mojo. 2 outs, so what? Man, does it feel healthy right now.
Good on them for not giving up.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. I'm proud to let you know that nationwide, our clinics have a 4.7 out of 5-star rating on Google. This tells you that our patients are really seeing results. Here's what some of them are saying. The results are close to phenomenal. On top of that, the staff and the scheduling are top-notch, and my technician is a consummate professional. Another patient said, I called numerous clinics, and West Coast was by far the best. The other places wouldn't give me any information over the phone, but West Coast answered all of my questions. My wife and I were skeptical, but we've already noticed the difference. This was a game changer for us. West Coast Men's Health has helped thousands of men reverse their ED using acoustic wave therapy. No pills or shots necessary. Give us a call today so we can help you too.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Tired of a boring backyard? State Roofing's expert team can help you create the perfect deck before summer hits. We'll make sure your deck is the envy of the neighborhood. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com for a free estimate. That's stateroofing.com.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
For over 111 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington. From the Space Needle in Seattle and now all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. PacificLamp.com.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attention talcum powder users. Have you had ovarian or gynecological cancer? A proposed $8 billion plan will pay those who believe they got sick from using talc products like Johnson's baby powder and shower to shower. Johnson & Johnson maintains its products are safe. You have until July 26, 2024 to vote to accept or reject the plan. For more information, visit officialtalclaims.com or call 888-431-4056. Paid for by LLT Management, LLC.
Well, we were all hoping for good news from the feds, but without any rate cut in sight, Americans are still paying crazy high rates on credit cards and other loans. Don't wait for things to get worse. If you're struggling, act now. Hey, this is Brock Ewart for my friends at Tila Mortgage. Contact Tila for information on their home equity line of credit, or HELOC. With a HELOC, you can consolidate high-interest bills into one lower, manageable payment while keeping your current low fixed-rate first mortgage. Tila's been helping Washingtonians consolidate debts for over 25 years, and they're experts at purchase and reverse mortgages, too. Take control of your finances and improve your monthly cash flow. Don't let debt payments control your life. Call Tila Mortgage today at 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, a couple of these are going to spoil 4-down territory. We're covering a few of them. For the first time, Hard Knocks in season will follow an entire division. It'll be the AFC North this year. It'll debut December 3rd with new episodes following each Tuesday. This was the best division they could have chosen.
Best division in football, I tell you, and lots of stories surrounding each team, which I will hit on a bit more in 4-down territory. But I like this, man. You run out of things to talk about sometimes with just one team, unless they're just garbage and there's drama. And you're going to get that from time to time with teams, but sometimes it's just business as usual. So how do you spice things up? You bounce around the division. I think this is a great idea.
What would have been the second choice for you? NFC East gives a ton of storylines. They probably would have been mine. I know NFC West would be maybe the right answer covering Seattle, but
East.
AFC. Ooh,
Yeah.
of course, the AFC East. Can the Bills get past the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? And what does their team look like without Diggs? Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Miami with Tua, seeing like what he means to that team, all those weapons. Can they finally get it done? And then you've got the Patriots.
Young Draco. Go get him, Drake.
May. What if he ends up having the best season of all these rookies and you look like a fool?
Not going to happen. I'm an expert at what I do, Stacy.
You know what I think you should do?
It ain't going down.
I think that if that does happen, though, you should be like, I always knew. This is why when we were leading up to the draft, I was telling you guys Drake May is the most underappreciated, underrated quarterback.
I will do that, but then
I'll be like, I heard it. I know.
But then I'll humble myself and say, you know what? I was wrong. I don't think I'm going to be wrong, though. I hope he has a great career, but it ain't, I don't know. I don't see it.
Okay. Well, it's not the AFC East this year, unfortunately. It is the AFC North, as we mentioned. Speaking of the AFC North, one of the teams within it, the Bengals, knows that they got their receiver locked down. T. Higgins will sign that franchise tender. He'd sat out the entire Bengals offseason program. And here's the thing with T, and here's why he's in a tough spot. You're not their best wide receiver.
No.
I don't know what to tell you, man. You're great. You are a great wide receiver, but there is a reason that you got the franchise tag and Jamar's looking at an extension.
Yeah, and honestly, T. Higgins has to look at this situation and knows he's not the guy, but he also knows that he has to get as much as he can right now. Last year, 42 receptions, 656, and 5 touchdowns. Had a bigger average than Jamar Chase. 50.6 per catch. Jamar Chase, 12.2. But sometimes it ain't about that average. It's about just making plays. We know Jamar can do that. I'm happy that they kept T. Higgins, though, man. You got to keep the band together as long as you can.
All right, next up, the Birmingham Stallions are officially a USFL-UFL dynasty. They won their 3rd straight title on Sunday and are 32-4 over the last 3 seasons.
Hold on.
Yes, that's
correct. It's been 3 seasons?
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious.
You're the only one who watches this league.
You're literally their only viewer.
I am. It all just clumps together. It's a long 3 seasons, it feels like. Did you guys see, is this on our timeline? No, it's not. You see Tom Brady awarded them the trophy.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Tom Brady already working his way in slowly into that media game, man. Good for him.
Next up, this one was interesting. So this was post. It was all over Instagram and Twitter, and it's a video of Brandon Ayuk to Jaden Daniels, and it was posted on his TikTok account, and he's talking about how he's not in a good place with the 49ers. He said they don't want me back, I swear. It's on the video. There's no other context. It's a quick video.
It could be joking. Guys are extremely sarcastic when we talk to each other. My wife sometimes she'll hit me on a conversation with my boys, and she's like, "Do you guys even like each other?" Yeah, they're my dogs. We love them, but this is how we communicate. We talk a little trash, and we're sarcastic. We exaggerate. So I'm hoping that's the case. There's no way the Niners are like, "No, we don't want Brandon Ayuk." What they could be saying is, "We can't afford him at this price because we got other people we have to pay here pretty soon." Who knows what really went down?
Let me get back to the UFL. Lions have signed UFL kicker Jake Bates. I know you normally aren't really high on kicker stories. However, he grabbed headlines this season after making 3 60-plus yard field goals during his UFL season, and also high. There's always something amazing about a guy going from a league like the UFL to the NFL.
Yeah, and especially a guy who ain't played since high school. Like this dude, this is the biggest come up of the year.
Truly.
Normally, we don't highlight these kickers. We appreciate what you do, but this one is great. This is what this league is all about, man. Find you some talent, give them a chance in the big boy league.
All right, next up, we're also going to get to this a bit more in 4 Down territory, but Sean McVay and Les Snead really wanted to trade up for Byron Murphy, which is coincidentally something Maurice Jones-Drew told us a month ago. If you guys didn't catch that interview, don't worry. We have you covered with his answer right here.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know the Rams are going to take Byron Murphy if you guys didn't. And so I didn't think he was going to last too long. To me, he has the body type, the potential to play to be what Aaron Donald was for the Rams, right? A guy that can be disruptive, take over games from the inside. The guard position in the National Football League isn't the best right now. So you get a piece that can really penetrate the pocket and put pressure on the quarterback. Well, really, I think it'll help. The way he attacks the running game, the way he attacks the offensive line in certain sliding protections, I think that's what you're looking for. So to me, he was the top 3 pass rushers up there. I thought you had Dallas Turner, Latu, and Byron Murphy.
I don't know why everyone's acting brand new. Like Maurice Jones-Drew didn't say this on this program right here. But obviously, this news was making the rounds over the weekend when it came out in that video posted by the Rams.
Yeah, Maurice is one of the voices of the Rams on the radio with my guy JB Long. So he gets some insight. He got some inside information. But I'm so glad they didn't pass up on Byron Murphy and let him go to L.A. We know what they got over there in Kobe Turner already. That would have been a disaster.
All right, well, good news for a former Seahawk. Russell Wilson has maintained his lead on Justin Fields in that quarterback room. This from The Athletic's Mark Caboli. He said he's confident Russell Wilson ended the club's minicamp holding a significant lead over Fields. He said he did, Wilson, nothing through 12 practices to even slightly indicate he could lose the competition.
Here's the thing. Russ is going to lose that job if he does during the regular season. He can come out and look okay during the preseason. That's not where he loses it. That's not where you get pressure from people upstairs making decisions on Mike Tomlin to make a move. No, it happens during the regular season. So as soon as he had the pole position, he would have to be so bad to lose that spot.
Yep.
Now, you open up with the Falcons, you go to the Broncos, you go to the Chargers and the Colts. He's got to come out that 4-game stretch, 3-1 minimum.
And we had nothing but good things to say about Wilson, especially when it came to Wilson's leadership. He also did talk about his arm talent. It sounds like that's still very much there, at least for Caboli. He said whether it was a throw in the flat or at the goal line down the field, it didn't matter. That arm strength showed up. I found this to be interesting when it came to Fields. He said, you can see what made him a first-round pick and also what made the Bears move on. He said the speed, playmaking, the legs are undeniable, but he showed inconsistent accuracy, relied on his feet way too quickly after the first read. It can be fixed, but maybe not throughout a training camp.
Yeah, I think we can all say that Justin Fields was underdeveloped over there with the Chicago Bears. You're competing with a guy who's been a Pro Bowler, who's been to the Super Bowl, been to the playoffs. He knows how to win a training camp. He knows how to win a mini camp, man. It's all about procedures and just making the right decisions. Again, it happens in the regular season as where and if Russell loses his job. This right here is cake for him. Offseason is money.
Russell Wilson has the 5th best odds from DraftKings Sports, from their sports books for comeback player of the year. The best odds belong, of course, to Aaron Rodgers. Following Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson. I'm not going to lie. I forget about Anthony Richardson. I know it's because last year he was a rookie and obviously got injured relatively early into the season, and the Colts' playoff hopes just kind of went by the wayside. Kirk Cousins, sure, it makes sense. You obviously suffered a season-ending injury, as did Joe and as did Aaron last year, but Richardson is a really interesting choice here, too. Nick Chubb coming in just behind Russell Wilson, just ahead of Sam Darnold.
Really fascinated with Anthony Richardson. Threw for 577, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in 4 games. But he also rushed for 4 touchdowns in 4 games. That's what got him banged up a little bit. We'll see how he adjusts his game, how the OC adjusts calling games for him. But yeah, all those other guys, I expect them to have good seasons. This is the one I'm most interested in seeing.
Bill Barnwell explains why and when the Hawks could be in play for Dak Prescott. Before we get to that, though, Dan Graziano explains why the Seahawks don't believe in rebuilds. That's next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike 3.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
The Mariners have arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. I think I'm probably taking the Mariners at the end of the day over every team in the American League right now.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
This is the team to beat in the division. And it's not just a hot take. That's what the numbers say, that they're the team to beat in the division.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Do you have a car you're thinking of selling? You want to get the most money for it, but you probably don't want to deal with the hassle of selling it yourself because it's annoying. Going to meet some stranger in a grocery store parking lot after work so they can test drive your car and negotiate on a price? No, thank you. Here's why you should sell your car to my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They have a program that pays top dollar for your car up front, but it gets even better. Because when Wayscar Ford resells your old car, they split the profit 50-50 with you. Why? The money they save on auction buy fees, transportation costs, and travel expenses allows them to offer this. They'd much rather split that money with a customer than outside services. Are they going to offer you less? No. In fact, they encourage you to shop and compare, but in virtually every case, Wayscar Ford's been able to match or beat competitor offers. So if you're looking to sell your car, make sure you do it at Wayscar Ford in Auburn and get paid twice for it.
Oh, how nice is it to have these long days back? Mike Salk here, and it really does make waking up for this show at 4 a.m. a whole lot easier when it's already a little bit light outside. And then after work, maybe even sneak in 18 holes all before that late sunset. Well, you know who else loves these long days? Riverside Roofing and all their customers. Long sunny days, that means they can turn around jobs more quickly. Have a roof project that you've been kicking around? Call Riverside Roofing and get on their schedule now. They're cranking out jobs all over Western Washington. I've heard from customers texting into the show who've trusted them, and I myself have been such a pleased, proud customer. The sooner you decide, the sooner you can have this project done, and additionally, you can handpick the best roofing company on the market. For me, that's Riverside Roofing. Go to riversideroofingllc.com right now and get a quick quote on your project. It won't even take 60 seconds. It's Riverside Roofing, family owned and Master Elite GAF certified. Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Are you still using allergy pills and sprays to treat your allergy attacks? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, snoring, facial pain are just a few of the sinus symptoms we can help you out with. From allergy workups and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced outpatient balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get relief easily, quickly, and permanently. Find us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here for Window Nation. If you haven't had a chance to take advantage of their semi-annual sale, you are in luck because they've extended it. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate now. If your old windows are costing you too much for AC, that's a big deal. And now during Window Nation's semi-annual sale, you can replace them and save big. This offer ends June 30th, so schedule your in-home estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Pacific Power Batteries understands batteries for golfers. Batteries for your car, your golf cart, and your Bags electric cart. We also sell good, used, 5-year-old E-Z-Go and Yamaha golf carts with a written satisfaction guarantee starting as low as $17.99. Located in Everett, Marysville, Mount Vernon, Bellingham, Monroe, and Wenatchee, you'll find our staff is well-trained in batteries and the latest charging technology. Pacific Power Batteries, with batteries for golfers.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Seahawks don't believe in rebuilds. Don't just take John Schneider's word for it. That's what Dan Graziano also believes. And he knows plenty about what this team is doing, and I got to say, we definitely agree to him. He talked about kind of that philosophy behind it.
Yeah, I was at Seahawks training camp some years ago, and I had a nice talk with Pete Carroll and sort of asked him about the concept of like knowing where you are in your roster cycle and, you know, are you a rebuilding team? Are you, you know, and he kind of like, I'll never forget it. He looked at my recorder. He said, turn that thing off. And then he started talking. He says, I'd never believed in that rebuilding stuff. You know, he's like, I think you go for everything you possibly can every single season. And I always remember that conversation. And I always felt like, you know, Seattle's always in this position. There are some teams in the league that do it this way, right? Like, you know, Pittsburgh never wants to be a rebuilding team, right? Like they're always going to try and field a contender.
I don't know, Dan. It sounds like that was supposed to be off the record. I'm just kidding. It was a very, very fair point.
He's telling.
He really, yeah, it's a great point, and I absolutely believe it. This is not a team that has ever operated like they're in a rebuild.
Oh man, we have this conversation so many times. Like you can't rebuild in football.
You can't.
Like a rebuild happens organically. You're just really bad. And now you have no choice but to start from the bottom and kind of work your way up. The reason why Pete Carroll doesn't believe in that stuff because he's never had to do it. He goes, I've never been so bad that we're throwing away everything, we're starting all over. No, there are always some pieces on the team, on the Pete Carroll team, that he knew would be there next year, that he knew would produce, and he knew that he can count on. Do you have to move things around? Of course you do. Even the successful teams, you win a Super Bowl, you're going to lose guys, you got to fill voids. That's just part of the process. But no, Pete Carroll don't believe in that because he's never been in that situation.
Yep.
And no one tanks, no one loses on purpose. No, your team is just that bad to where you lose and get high draft picks.
All right, let's talk about a little bit more about the rebuild. Then we're going to get to stuff about Geno because we're talking quarterbacks in about 10 minutes. He talked about what determines whether or not a team gets into a version of a rebuild, and unsurprisingly, it's quarterback.
I think when we're talking for the story about knowing where you are in your roster's life cycle, I think a lot of that's tied to the quarterback, right? A lot of that is tied to, you know, how far along is he in his development? And then what are you doing around him? Where are you picking in the draft? Like, where do you need to reinforce? And so I do think that no matter who you are and no matter whether you're a rebuild team or you're a contender or whatever you want to call yourself, I do think that there's an element of sort of knowing where you are in your roster's life cycle.
Let's talk about where the Seahawks are in their life cycle, because I know that they have An older quarterback who a lot of people see as a bridge quarterback, or, that is certainly not as the answer. Fine. You've also got DK in a big contract. You want to take advantage of him. I know you have young players, but you've got guys where you really want to capitalize on their time with you now.
Yeah, that's why you look at this team and it's they're in such a weird position. Like, I'm trying to look across the league and say, all right, who's in this type of position?
Mm-hmm.
If Jared Goff didn't have the year that he had last year, the Lions are probably in the same position. That's why they drafted Hendon Hooker a couple of years ago. But I look across the league, maybe the Vegas Raiders are in this type of situation. You got a quarterback, or going to have a battle over there to where both guys are good enough to win you some ball games, but you don't think they're going to be the guy for the future. I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints. Maybe they're in something similar to this because you got Derek Carr. You know he's going to win you some ball games. You got Jake Keener behind him, Spencer Rattler after that. No one on that roster is screaming, all right, the quarterback position is screaming Super Bowl-type quarterback, so you need other things to happen. I bring all those other teams up, but I look at the Seahawks and go, well, everywhere else, they're a lot better than those teams. And there's a way to win and accomplish all the things that you need or you want to, but you're going to need rookies to hit. You're going to need the linebackers who weren't at minicamp to hit. You are going to need your offensive line to stay healthy. Just like any other team, you got to be lucky as well as good to win a Super Bowl, right? You got to stay healthy. All your players are available. But you're right. There's a sense of urgency with this team right now, even though you got a new quarterback, new head coach, bunch of new coordinators. But you look at the roster and say, there's enough here to be really competitive. What's going to push you over the edge? Typically, it's the quarterback. Then I'll go back to my argument I have with Geno. I still think he's growing as a quarterback in this league. Only been a starter, 3 or 4 seasons across his 10-year career, with a new offensive coordinator who is going to push the ball down the field and hopefully unlock something. I think after this year, we'll have a better picture of what they should definitely do at that quarterback position.
And we'll talk about that coming up in a couple minutes. Let's find out what Dan thinks about Geno.
So I think Seattle, yes, got fortunate with Geno, but I think you make your own luck too. And the fact that they had him in the building, that he knew they had some degree of belief in him, that he knew the surroundings and he kind of knew what was expected of him because he had been functioning in that backup role. And I'll never forget when I talked to Geno in training camp last year, he said he always told Pete, when Pete would say, all right, the twos are up, Geno would run out there and run past Pete and say, I'm not a 2, coach. I'm 1A. Right. That was his attitude. So you have to foster that if you're gonna get what Seattle got out of it.
So got lucky with Geno to an extent, but this wasn't a Mr. Irrelevant in the draft, randomly found Brock Purdy, rolled the dice and was like, hey, series of injuries happens. Whoa, look at this. This was, they got lucky, but they knew who he was.
And I love that about Geno. And you could listen. Geno's not a perfect human being. There are no perfect human beings. It's almost every time I give Geno a compliment, there's always someone on the text line. What about this back with the Jets? What about this during the offseason? I go, hey, all that stuff happened. Not going to ignore that. But the one thing I do like about Geno is that he seems like a competitor, man. I will go into a house that's on fire with people who have that competitiveness. It's just a figure speech. That have that competitiveness about them, because you know that when things get tough, they're not going to flinch. Doesn't mean that they're going to be successful all the time, but it means that they want the ball. They want to be in that moment, man. So I think that's what Geno has on his side as well, is that he's going to fight, man. Whether win, lose, or draw, he will go out there and give you his best effort.
Dan Graziano also gave credit to the Seahawks for even moving on from Russ in the first place. And I remember at the time being very against this. And it's not because I thought Russ was the best quarterback in football. It's not because I was blind to real problems within the organization. It was because it is so incredibly hard. It is so incredibly hard to find your quarterback. And it felt like this was a team where if you could get 3 men on the same page, right? And your head coach, your GM, your quarterback, if you guys could just tweak a few things, you could really improve. Now, I was wrong in that Russ was traded and didn't succeed. I still think Russ, it would have been better for his career. Like, he would have had a better season in Seattle than he did with Denver, and I will die on that hill.
For sure.
But I did not expect the downfall that he had. And here's the little secret. The reason it was such a huge story is because not a lot of people did. And so everyone can come out and be like, I always knew he was washed. You saw signs of Russ falling off. That will go down in the history books in the league as not just one of the most lopsided trades, one of the worst trades, but one of the biggest surprises. Because the fall off was from this is a guy that you trust to this is a guy that should be benched. Like, it was a massive fall off. And the reason a lot of teams don't do that, and this is Dan's point, the reason a lot of teams don't do that is because that fall off is rare. And for the most part, you're like, well, if we have someone, why not keep him? We just talked about Trevor Lawrence getting that extension bump and, being mostly potential. And you were like, well, look, you'll go out and you'll say quarterbacks are getting overpaid. That was mostly potential. But when you have something, you want to keep it.
Yeah, and to the point of Russell falling off, his last 3 seasons here, you'll take those seasons every day.
Every day.
35-7, 31-5, 40-13, 25-6, touchdown to interception ratio. Did he hold on to the ball at times? Yes. Did he take a whole bunch of sacks? Yes. But when you're putting up 4,000 yards and 25, 40, 31, 35 touchdowns, you have an opportunity to win ball games.
All right, well, there's another quarterback we're talking about as being a potential fit for the Seahawks. This from Bill Barnwell. What if it's Dak Prescott? And I know you're thinking, you guys, he's with the Cowboys. That's stupid. But wait just a minute. There's something on the horizon, potentially for next season, and it's fascinating. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
The Mariners are 23rd in the league in runs scored innings 1 through 3. 9th in the league in runs scored in innings 7 through 9. How's that possible? The Mariners are 29th in the league in OPS versus start. Against relievers, they're 11th.
Yes.
What? There's no earthly reason that I could come up with that would make a team change that drastically relative to the rest of the league.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's Ultimate Speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go to ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 62324, restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabits per second of Verizon 5G Business, AT&T Wireless Broadband, and T-Mobile for Business. Up to 3 times download for existing essential and standard internet customers.
Well, we were all hoping for good news from the feds, but without any rate cut in sight, Americans are still paying crazy high rates on credit cards and other loans. Don't wait for things to get worse. If you're struggling, act now. Hey, this is Brock Ewart for my friends at Tila Mortgage. Contact Tila for information on their home equity line of credit, or HELOC. With a HELOC, you can consolidate high-interest bills into one lower, manageable payment while keeping your current low fixed-rate first mortgage. Tila's been helping Washingtonians consolidate debts for over 25 years, and they're experts at purchase and reverse mortgages, too. Take control of your finances and improve your monthly cash flow. Don't let debt payments control your life. Call Tila Mortgage today at 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
At State Roofing, we don't just install roofs, we build peace of mind. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing, and we stand firmly behind our work, protecting your investment for years to come. Backed by warranties that offer you protection, reliability, and trust long after the project. Take advantage of our zero down, zero payments, and zero interest today. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com for a free estimate.
State Roofing, build as roof you'll ever need.
I
can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
What's wrong?
My travel rewards card didn't earn enough miles for my vacation.
Are you crying? Are you crying because of that other credit card?
Uh-huh.
Well, switch to the Capital One Venture card. Venture lets you redeem miles on any travel purchase.
Really?
Yep, and you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every single day. The Capital One Venture card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
With their sweep of the Rangers this past weekend, the Mariners have the biggest lead in any division in baseball. That includes the Phillies' 8-game lead over the Braves and the Dodgers' 8-game lead over the Padres. It's why MLB.com has the M's at number 7 on their power rankings. Keep in mind, at one point, Seattle was 21st. So that is a huge jump. It's Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight. The Mavs are looking to stay alive here after their single best performance of the Finals in a dominant Game 4, whereas the Celtics can win it all in Boston. Boo. Tip-off at 5:30 p.m. You can listen to the broadcast right here on Seattle Sports.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Let's talk future planning. That's always something important, right? Future planning is important. You want to think about what could come in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, as far as the Seahawks, future planning obviously starts with quarterback, because you start to wonder, well, what happens with Geno after this year? Does Sam go into a game and look amazing? Do you enter a draft that's kind of weak with maybe a lower draft pick if you end up surprising everyone and having a great season? I don't know. Bill Barnwell has a potential answer, though. He was writing about Dak Prescott this week, who's awaiting an extension with the Dallas Cowboys. And Barnwell said, the Giants, Seahawks, Jets, Steelers, Titans, Saints, and Raiders seem like the obvious landing spots if their quarterback situations disappoint this year. He says, yeah, the Dolphins would be in the mix if the Tua deal doesn't get done. Panthers would be a long shot if Young doesn't improve. But obviously, we're caught up with the idea that the Seahawks would even be a candidate for Dak Prescott if he doesn't get a deal done with the Cowboys. So let's talk about it theoretically, because this allows us to have a broader conversation about quarterback in Seattle. I will tell you, Bump, text line not happy about this one.
Oh, no, they hot.
Not happy. 509. Dak in Seattle, pass. Yeah, let's pay $70 million a year for a guy that can only win if everything else goes perfectly. He needs the line to give him forever to throw. He needs wide receivers to get open. You need wide receivers to get open.
Need line too.
He needs a back to run for at least 100 yards and needs the D to keep the other team from scoring. These are basics, 509. But yeah, he says Dak and Cousins are basically the same guy.
Oh, man. When you look at Dak, on paper, last year, 4,500 of them things, 36 of them things, 9 interceptions. Ooh,
to 9 interceptions.
I like
Solid.
it.
Good
I like it.
improvement
You look
for
at him the year before, 23 touchdowns, 15. I'll pass. 2021, 37 of them things, 10 interceptions, 4,400 yards. Okay, I like that. But it's deeper than just your regular season. Okay, unfortunately, you look at Dak in his playoff performances. Last year, he led the youngest team in the NFL. Now, it's not just Dak Prescott. It's the Dallas Cowboys. It's CeeDee Lamb. It's defense. It's special teams. It's McCarthy. It's all of that. All right? He threw the ball 60 times. He completed 68% of his passes, but when it was time to get it done, he threw 2 interceptions, and it was all bad. They lost 48-32. So now let's go to 2022. 2022, he gets you. That first round, you see him do his thing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 25-33, 305, 4 touchdowns. You go, he has arrived. Dak Prescott has figured it out. But then you go up against the Niners, which is a tough football team. Let's not get it twisted. We're not saying they should have won that game, but he throws 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Let's go to the year before that. Year before that, who does he lose to again? He loses to the 49ers one more time. He throws 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's won 1 playoff game throughout his career.
Wow.
But in the regular season, he is something special at times. I don't think we can deny that. And I think moving forward, if you were to move forward from Geno, I think you'll win enough games to where you're not going to have a high draft pick. And like you mentioned, the quarterback talent coming out next year isn't great. Now, these young men could have great seasons, and we can change our perspective on that. But it's not looking great. So what I would prefer is to go ahead and get yourself a veteran, but not a veteran for the price tag that Dak is going to ask for. Because let's remember, you still got to pay DK next year, right? He's got his option year next year. What are you going to do in that situation? I prefer you keep number 14 as long as you can. Let's remember, you're going to have to pay those offensive linemen eventually. You got 2 tackles who should be here for a while. You're going to have to pay them, and tackles are not cheap. It's such a weird position for the Seahawks at the quarterback spot because they won't be good enough to draft high. The draft prospects ain't looking good. Who else is going to be out there when it comes to a free agent? There's no veteran quarterbacks that have shown I can take this team into the playoffs and make a run. What exactly do you do? You might find yourself in the same position you're in this year to where you just have a slightly above average quarterback and you're paying him the low, 25, 30, 35 million, and you're trying to get the most out of him and hoping that everyone else can kind of fill in the gaps to where, where he can't come through in the clutch or whatnot. It's such a weird position to be in, man. But it's better than being so bad that you're relying on one of these young men next year to come in and save the day. This is, I think, this conversation is going to go a lot of different directions as the season goes along and as the offseason comes around next year. I don't think there's one clear-cut path to making this team better at the QB spot.
So I love this conversation for 2 reasons. That is the second and what I want to spend most time on. The first reason is the conversation about what goes wrong with Dallas. And I know we're not like Dallas Cowboys fans. This isn't a Dallas sports station, but I find it interesting because this is a scenario that can come up with many teams. When you are really, really good in the regular season and you can't get it done in the postseason, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it when you fail at your biggest moments in a team sport? I think that maybe an undue amount of blame gets placed on Dak. Not that he doesn't play fault. And maybe not enough on Mike McCarthy, who I know that he won a Super Bowl with Green Bay and he's clearly an accomplished head coach, but was this not part of the reason that Mike McCarthy was run out of Green Bay by Aaron Rodgers? Like, it's just weird that the finger pointing is almost exclusively at Dak Prescott because the bar is so high when he's one of the best quarterbacks that they've had in recent years. Obviously not during their Super Bowl times, but like...
He's better than Troy Aikman, numbers-wise.
Well, hey,
and Troy,
then maybe I stand corrected.
If you look at Troy Aikman and his numbers, they aren't touching Dak's right now. I gotta pull them up. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but I'm sure that Dak's numbers are either comparable or better than Troy Aikman's numbers.
But Troy played during an era where there was a lot of success for the Cowboys, and he's got those rings and he's got those wins, and people can point to it. And by the way, a ton of talent around him.
Yeah.
It's not like he did it all himself.
Hall of Famers
it's
everywhere.
basically the same. It's like where you look at the team and you go, there's so much talent. Why doesn't it work? Only with those Cowboys it did work, and they were dominant, and that's how you become America's team, right? That's how that whole legacy not started, but how it kind of cemented itself. With Dak, there's easily other factors to look at. Your defense had one of the worst games. complete collapse. Dan Quinn, so much so that people wondered if it would impact Dan Quinn's hiring chances to be a head coach elsewhere. Dak was obviously part of the problem, but Mike McCarthy is certainly a factor too. And I would argue so is Jerry Jones and your organization as a whole. Let's get back to the conversation, the idea that you pointed out, which is how do you find a quarterback when you aren't sure if you have one? That, to me, is where this really starts to go.
This is what's crazy. I'm looking at the QBs as of now that will be available next season. Dak Prescott going to cost way too much. I don't want that.
Way too much. And he deserves it. I don't want the Seahawks to pay it.
He kind of deserves it. I mean, yeah, he puts up numbers. Anyway.
That's a wide receiver take right there.
Jordan Love, he's going to be inked up. Don't worry about him. Not going to be an option. Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Brissett, Tua's going to get inked up. Heineke, Mariota, Stidham, Locke, Dalton, Fields, Flacco, White, Winston, Jones, Wentz, Garoppolo, Keenum, Mason, Rudolph. I don't hear no names that's going to take you to the next level. So I just went through the top 15 to 20 guys who are going to be available next year. We don't like many of those names. We like Dak. Dak is fine, but it's going to cost too much. Then we look at the guys who are going to be coming into the draft next year, and we're not high on them. So if we're not high on them and experts aren't high on them, then there's a chance that those guys can drop to the later in the first round or second round, and the Hawks just might pick one up. But because we don't have the warm, fuzzy feeling we had about Caleb and about Jaden Daniels and about Drake and J.J. McCarthy, it's hard for us right now on June 17, 2024 to say, don't worry, you're going to get one of those guys. Let's see what happens. There's so much time for perspectives to change. There's so much time for the free agents to get moved around and for these other young quarterbacks can establish themselves, and maybe we think about them differently. But right now, the path to getting a quarterback after Geno is shady. That's why they bring in a Sam Howell. Give up a third-round pick. Let's see if he can sit and develop behind Geno for a little bit. And if and when that time comes, you separate from Geno, you don't like what's out there, you got a guy who's been in the system for a while who might be able to take you to the next level. That's essentially what Geno did, sitting behind Russell Wilson. If Geno doesn't sit behind Russell Wilson here in Seattle for a few years, you're not even 9-8. You're not even competitive the way that you are. So I kind of see what they're doing. This is Sam Howell's the insurance. Like, at least we have someone who can run our stuff. But it's looking hard. It's already hard enough to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
In the situation that the Seahawks are in, it's even tougher.
And again, I want to point to that not as a way to be like, so be grateful with Geno, but as a way to say, what are the realistic options? I, like anyone, if Geno has a horrible season, I'm going to be going, all right, who's next? What do you got here? What are some of your options? Until Geno does that, I look at it and go, Geno's a pretty good option right now. Really solid option right now. And I'm also looking at the rest of this team going, okay, if they, in a random world, were to get the number 1 overall pick and take the best quarterback in this upcoming draft, what kind of team is he coming on to? We don't have the full answer to that yet. But if this was exactly last year's team, like let's say we based on those stats, knew what this team looked like, I would say not a great playoff team.
Yeah.
Not a team that's ready to really support that guy. Now, it's not the blank show that is the Carolina Panthers taking Bryce Young with essentially no offensive line and weapons to surround him with. Like, he entered a really sad situation. That's not what would be happening in Seattle, but
what if? Hey, what if? You got me thinking.
Yeah.
All right, so what if Young doesn't have another good year under Canales in the Hawks go, you know what? Let's take a chance on another small quarterback and see if we can make him into something great, because you look at that situation over there, and I don't see him succeeding. I know Canales is a good offensive coordinator, but you need more than coordinator and a couple good guys over there. You need an organization with a line and weapons and all that stuff to help develop this young dude. That might be the next best route, is to look at a young quarterback like they did with Sam Howell, who struggled somewhere, who you felt like wasn't developed, maybe even a Justin Fields, and say, we can save him, girl. Don't worry about all them red flags, girl.
Well, here's then the natural follow-up. Is it Bryce or is it Carolina? Because you would have to give up a lot. They not only traded a ton to move to number 1, lost out on a first overall pick for the following season because Chicago had it, but then obviously didn't do anything with it. Would you believe in Bryce Young?
Got to watch the film. I got to watch the film.
Because I think that Bryce Young maybe was a beneficiary of a ton of hype that boosted up what were some very real and fair questions about his size.
Listen.
I love a petite.
There aren't too many.
My fellow petites. You know what I mean?
Gang. There's only really been Well, there's been two quarterbacks from Alabama and Nick Saban's run that have really done great things, right?
Tua.
Jalen Hurts and Tua.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're just guys on the team who can run this offense. But Bryce still won a Heisman Trophy. I think that just shows how difficult it is to make the jump sometimes if you aren't properly supported. So I feel bad for that young man. But I think that's the kind of situation the Hawks are in, is that you might have to take a shot on someone who you feel like you can develop and make them better.
Nick Corti, who had the original tweet that Bill Barnwell retweeted, said two things that are of interest to me. One, he said, hey, this would be spicy, but Giants could pick up Dak. The other thing he said was, in addition to the Panthers, if their rookie quarterback situation goes wrong, he said, well, don't forget the Colts and Titans also haven't had their rookie quarterbacks take off.
Well, Colts, they got 4 games out of Anthony, so we'll see. And Will Levis had some moments last year.
I high-key wanted Anthony Richardson in Seattle.
I did too.
And so I am not a horrible person that would hope for anyone's downfall. If the Colts found themselves in a position to trade Anthony Richardson, I'd be intrigued.
Yeah.
I'd be very intrigued.
Why? Because he's young.
And he has 1,000,005 weapons.
Yeah, but that's the main thing is I think most people want someone to come in who's young.
Yes.
Who you
have more time.
You feel like you have more exactly.
Yep.
So that's the tough part, man. Is Geno's older, but he's young in his actual snaps in the NFL.
Yeah, but you can't fight an older body even if your actual snaps in the NFL are different. He hasn't had the wear and tear that quarterbacks who started much younger have. But at the end of the day, you're in your 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Look. I don't like it either, Geno. Okay, you and I both, my friend. But that's going to be a question with him. And he's also going to be, if Dak Prescott, who has posted back-to-back 12-win seasons, gets plenty of questions and hate from Cowboys fans, that's how hard it is to just have this unanimous, we like him. Good job. He's doing the right thing as a quarterback. And Geno is, unfortunately, in this group of quarterbacks where there are going to be constant questions. He could come out, have a great year. Great year. Unless he's 1, 2, 3 in yards and touchdowns and whatever, there's going to be doubt and there's going to be questions because that's just how that kind of quarterback works out. And it's not fair.
Yeah. I also think that when you play for the Cowboys, 30-year drought, I mean, expectations are different over there.
That's true. The bar is insanely high.
I'm not saying people don't want Super Bowl championships over here, but if Geno were to get into the playoffs and win 2 ball games or even win 1 ball game, I think that he'll be embraced more than if Dak were to just win 1 ball game in the playoffs.
Yes, absolutely true. But it's also why I really like your point about Troy Aikman, because it's well, wait a minute. You're hating on this guy who, statistically is better than your favored son, right? Mm-hmm. And again, full circle, back to well, is it Dak or is it something else? I think Dak can sometimes choke. I think he makes bad decisions. You pointed to his interceptions. It's he throws the worst interceptions at the worst times.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But we're just completely letting it slide that it's definitely not your offensive coordinator. It's definitely not Mike McCarthy. It's definitely not Jerry Jones and how incredibly overbearing
It's all the above for sure, right? Mike McCarthy, he's won a Super Bowl, but he's like Aaron Rodgers, man. It's been a long time since you've won that thing.
And you got to back it up.
Yeah, and Jerry Jones, man, he's just too involved. He's a helicopter parent.
Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
So many good questions as a result of this conversation. 206. Isn't the jury still out on Jalen Hurts? He's had a good season, but maybe it seems like there's some questions there now. I'm loving the questions that are being thrown at us from listeners. Maybe we'll get to them at 1:30. First down. What almost went down during the draft you feel would have been hell for the NFC West?
Yeah, it was Brock Bowers and Byron Murphy. The Rams wanted to move up and grab those guys. If there's anything we know Sean McVay can do is it's create plays for his guys who catch the football, run the rock. That would have been beautiful for him, bad for us. You just lost, not lose. Well, he retired. Aaron Donald is gone, but you got Kobe Turner over there, who was he defensive rookie of the year? Yeah. Imagine him and Byron Murphy together. We don't know what Byron Murphy's going to do yet, but I am very optimistic about this young man. His size, his skill, his hands, his leverage. He understands all that stuff. That would have been hell for the NFC West. I already think this is going to be an extremely competitive division. I think the Cardinals are going to be better than people expect. I think the Seahawks are going to be better than what people expect, and the Rams and the Niners are going to continue doing business the way they've been doing the past few years. That would have been a nightmare, man. If the Hawks would have passed on Byron Murphy, the Rams would have picked him up. I'm thinking, who would the Hawks have picked up if they didn't go Byron Murphy? But everything that we hear is that he was their number one guy on the list as soon as all those offensive players were taken off the board, and then you got Latu ahead of him. So it all worked out, man, but that would have been ugly for the West if the Rams picked him up.
Oh, thank goodness. Second down. Why do you like that the Seahawks are having a joint practice with the Tennessee Titans?
I love it. Switch it up. 1991 was the last time these guys had a joint practice. It was with the Atlanta Falcons. I believe Deion Sanders was on that squad. But it's because of the control that you have. Controlled violence, controlled competition. You get good versus good. Those are ones versus ones. And the way the NFL has set up now with only 3 preseason games, I don't expect solidified starters to get many reps. Maybe 1 or 2 series, you sit them down, you let them live. So this is an opportunity for you guys to go as live as possible other than the quarterbacks and see what these young guys or even these veterans can do. I love it. Also, it allows Mike McDonald to figure out how he wants to travel, the timing of everything. His first time calling live plays, as live as you can get in the NFL without actually being in a game. For Dirty to get into the mix, for Grubb to try his offense out against a defense who doesn't care about what you're doing. It's all about experience, man. I like it, and these type of things bring teams closer. If there's a fight that breaks out between the Seahawks and the Titans, man, that locker room's gonna be buzzing for the Seahawks when they get back in there talking about the things that happened. Unfortunately, for some people, violence brings groups together, and football is a violent sport.
I was about to say, maybe that's a good thing.
And fights break out all the time, so I just like it, man. He's making this thing his. I appreciate that.
Remember when everyone was convinced that the thing that turned the Mariners season around was that fight in Anaheim against the Angels, Jesse Winker? And I remember being like, that's so stupid. That's so dumb. Oh, my God, get over it. There's so much stuff behind the scenes. But then a little part of me was like, but yeah, sometimes a fight.
It does. I'm telling you,
sometimes
man.
It's what you
I remember
need.
Nights in college.
Just a moment. You need a moment. Not necessarily always a fight. Just a moment.
Nights in college, we got into a couple brawls, man. We would come back and be recapping that brawl like it was the Super Bowl. What angle did you have? What angle you have? And it's just, I don't know. Dumb boys.
I was going to say the discrepancy between, and now this isn't how all boys and girls grow up, but the discrepancy between your guys' own experience. I've never been in a fight in my entire life. I don't know what it feels like to push or punch someone, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You don't have to. We
Are you afraid of your own power? Is that it?
Exactly. So that's really what it mostly is like I've never felt like irresponsible enough to get in a fight because I know the damage I could inflict.
Your hands are weapons.
I'm from SeaTac. Third down. What's a headline you saw that reminded you we're in the middle of June?
Every morning, I wake up, do our show prep email, read a bunch of articles, and I saw a headline. There's a 3-man battle in Green Bay. I go, oh, what's up? What position? What we talking about? Kicker. We're talking kicker. Now, kickers, I appreciate what you do. I cannot kick a football the way that you do, especially under pressure. The wind is blowing. Got to hit the uprights. It's a skill for sure. But that's how we know, man. We about to hit the dark times of our job when we're talking about a 3-man battle in Green Bay.
Man.
And it was a long article. It wasn't no short one. You know, you get 1 or 2 paragraphs. No, this was like 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. I go, why are we spending so much time on these kickers, man? LaFleur is going to pick the right guy. It's going to come down to numbers. It's real easy. Who makes the most field goals in practice? Let's chart them. It's not like they got to run plays and figure out what a coverage is and make all these adjustments. No. Ball on the ground, put it through them 2 yellow things. Why are we talking about 3-man battle at kicker? I'm talking about it in 4-down territory. This is crazy. Can we move on, please?
Here we are. This is how I know, and from 4-down territory, we're in June. 4th down. In-season Hard Knocks has made a shift. What is it, and why are you excited for it?
So instead of following one team, they're following a division, and they're going to follow the AFC North. I think is the best division in football. And each team has their own storylines. With the Bengals, you got the return of Joe Cool. I'm sure he's sitting back and he's watching these quarterbacks get paid just as much as him and ain't done nothing that he's done. with the Ravens, we might be looking at the best backfield in NFL history. If Derrick Henry can be healthy and rush for over 1,000, you got Lamar Jackson that can go over 1,000 and toss that ball around. That might be something special. With the Steelers, man, they've had one of the best off seasons in the game. They got Patrick Queen. They drafted Troy Fautanu, Peyton Wilson from North Carolina, a linebacker, Roman Wilson, wide receiver from Michigan. Tomlin signs his extension. Can he win another 9-10 games to stay above 500? There's a lot going on there. And then the Browns, man, buyer remorse. Are you guys gonna have buyer remorse, man? Deshaun Watson has a lot of pressure on it, and something tells me, I don't know, I just don't have a good feeling about his performance over there with the Browns. So we shall see. If you can't do what Joe Flacco did, and you can pay $200-something million guaranteed, goodness gracious, man, it's gonna be rough. But no, I like the new setup.
Yeah, I'm personally surprised that didn't get more criticism, coverage. I think it would have been different if Deshaun was playing. So Deshaun was playing, didn't look good, got hurt, was done. If Deshaun was out there and it was a Russell Wilson-esque, he's out there starting every game and just bombing and no one knows what's happening, maybe we would have been talking about it more. There was also that huge gap, right? Russ went from, hey, I'm starting for the Seahawks. The following year, I'm starting for the Denver Broncos, and it was a complete horror show.
Right.
Deshaun had the year off, obviously due to a suspension, and then the 11 games. So people were like, oh, give it a minute. See what happens. He used to be so talented. Let's see what happens. Man, let me tell you what.
This could be one of the biggest flops when it comes to free agent acquisitions in sports history, in American sports history at least.
Yeah, you're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. We were talking about loving the AFC North as a pick for in-season Hard Knocks. I thought that just to have a bit of fun as we round out the final hour of the show, we would rank NFL divisions. So get yours ready. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Your pitching will keep you in any game for the most part.
It's phenomenal.
It's a phenomenal rotation that you desperately need to take advantage of while it's here, while they're together. We've got 4 of the 5 who are in baseball dollars, very cheap and very young right now. And you're only going to have that group together for so long. You're also in a year where the AL West is really down.
Probably more importantly, don't you think?
Yeah, the division is there for you to take.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I call myself a confident backseat driver. Mom, brakes, please.
Gotcha.
But I'm less confident in the economy.
Same here, buddy.
Thankfully, Les Schwab Tires helps make sure that our safety never takes a backseat, even when we're watching our wallets.
Roll into summer. Save up to $200 instantly on a wide selection of tires and wheels. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Details at leschwab.com/sale.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here. I recently met with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing, to talk about a metal roof which can last twice as long as ordinary shingles. Asset Roofing is seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job, and that allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Hey, sports fans, ready to take your fitness game to the next level? At Emerald City Athletics, they're on your team. Score big this June with the unbeatable summer sale on now. Get 20% off all memberships and join with 0 enrollment fees. There's never been a better time to get started at Seattle's favorite local gym, Emerald City Athletics. Whether you're looking to build strength, increase endurance, or just stay in the game, their team of fitness pros will come up with the perfect game plan for you. Emerald City Athletics' top-notch trainers and state-of-the-art facilities are there to help you crush your fitness goals, whatever they may be. Hey, don't wait. Join the winning team at Emerald City Athletics and start a customized fitness journey that will level up every area of your life. Get started today with 20% off all memberships and no enrollment fees. Some restrictions apply. This summer sale is on now for a limited time. Emerald City Athletics has gyms in Wallingford, Columbia City, Ballinger Village, and Everett. Stop by any Emerald City Athletics location to lock in exclusive summer savings today.
What do thousands of students that rely on free school lunches do during the summer? It's G. Scott here. Sunbucks is a SNAP program that provides free, healthy food when school is out. If you could use the help, simply fill out the form online to determine eligibility for $120 of free food per child. This message is presented by Safeway, where customers can use SNAP to match their produce purchases as well as shop online. Learn more at hungerfreewashington.org/summer EBT.
Ooh.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I'm speechless.
Tell them. Tell the people.
Matt, who's on the board, part of our show, isn't particularly fond of sports. And so one of our favorite things to do is and Matt's a really smart, funny person. He's interested in other things. And yes, you can work on a board for a sports station and know nothing nor care about sports. It can be done. And Matt's an amazing person at his job. But we like to give Matt a hard time, for instance. Today, Curtis, you told Matt to guess the name of the conference that Washington moved to.
Exactly. And it took him a full commercial break to even land on the word big.
Right. So if I said, like, Matt, name the quarterback for the Bills, you'd probably know.
Easy, Matt Hasselbeck.
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is so when Curtis asks Matt a question like,
Matt, can you name the president of the Big Ten Network and just give me one of his names?
So I'm feeling myself in this moment, right? And I'm an entertainer, and so I need to give the people something. And so I say, Matt, I'll give you $1,000 if you guess this right. $1,000, Matt. That's
per name.
4 digits. That's 10 100s. Matt, I'll give you $1,000 per name. And Matt says,
Francois.
What?
The president of the Big Ten Network is named Francois McGillicuddy.
Shut up, Matt.
That's
Shut up.
amazing.
Shut up, Matt. You don't know anything.
I don't.
We lost our minds.
I don't trust him anymore.
I don't trust you.
He's an informant.
You
He's a
know
narc.
something. You
Here's
know
the thing,
something.
though.
Undercover. I don't know.
The terms of the bet were get the full name. And I would have never been able to guess the second
Doesn't matter.
name.
Yeah.
And if I did, wouldn't I have just said it so I could get $1,000?
So the only hint we gave was it does not sound like a person who would be American working for an American sports conference. And your first name
And their names
was
don't go together.
Francois. And we were like, there's no way you didn't know. There's no way on this planet you didn't know that. You did not
You
just make
blew
that
your
up.
cover. You know that, right?
Yeah, you did.
How would I have known
because
your
you
covers?
secretly are a huge sports fan.
You know the president's names of all these networks.
Yeah, you've been sitting here. You're an op.
You're breaking down all 22 film
You are
every
the
single
number
week.
one fan here. You're here talking. You listen to Bump, analyze, and you go, okay.
Stupid.
Yeah, wow.
Okay. Do you even know ball?
Yeah, let's talk about wide zone coverage. Okay. I made that up.
I want to point something out.
Wide zone coverage.
My job would be easier if I understood most of these things. This is a long con
I'm
that
so
doesn't
upset.
have like an outcome that's beneficial.
No,
for
but
me.
it would be objectively
Nah, you
funny
know
if Matt the whole time.
You're studying us.
You're-
We're part of
you're-
your study.
Yes, exactly.
This is for years
You're like
now.
a scientist, and you're trying to see how long you can go pretending not to know anything.
It's like, damn, I blew my cover, guys. I got us, guys. I got us.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the second I'm like, $1,000 is yours. You were like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yep, my whole life just leading up to a $1,000 bet.
Matt, I'm never going to pay you. And I
You
need
shouldn't. I didn't guess the second
and I
name.
need to say that to your face. So I'm so
was
sorry
amazing.
about that. Yeah, that was a great job by Matt.
Mhm.
I saved us half a segment here. We're going to rank NFL divisions. Matt, do you want to go first?
Since you know everything.
Number one. AL West.
Okay, no, Matt. It's AFC or NFC, and then you go north, south, east, west.
Let's go AFC East.
Okay, not bad.
Okay,
That
it's really
isn't
not bad.
bad.
That's really not bad.
That's
That's
not
really, you
bad.
could make the argument. So, Bump,
I don't want to, though.
I'm guessing yours is AFC North number
AFC
one.
North all day.
Okay, then what do you have?
AFC North all
You
day.
can go 1 through 5, maybe,
Honestly,
rather than.
I was struggling with AFC East or NFC
Matt.
East at this point. I'm going to go AFC East.
Okay.
AFC North, AFC East, and then I'm going to NFC West, and I'm going to NFC North, and then that's 4, right? And then
Mhm.
AFC
Yeah, I'm leaving
South.
out, like, we don't need to go all
AFC
the
South.
way to, like,
AFC
okay.
South. Yeah.
I went AFC North, and then I went with a wild card NFC West. There's bias here because I'm
okay.
probably higher on the
Okay.
Seahawks,
Okay.
and I'm curious about the Cardinals, and I think the Rams kind of turn around and the improvement were real. I think a more critical sports fan who didn't pay attention to these teams would be like, you've got one dominant team. That's it. So I completely understand why the NFC West should be much lower. But I went AFC North, NFC West, AFC East. And then I was between NFC East or AFC South. The recency of Houston made me put NFC East.
Just
in
one
there.
team, though?
I
Colts
know.
ain't done nothing.
I know.
Jacksonville overpaid quarterback. Don't know who's a quarterback for Tennessee.
Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. I bumped it further down. But the NFC West over NFC East was my, I thought, most controversial take here.
I mean, I could see it, though.
But the 49ers are heavily weighing that one. And I just tend to be higher on the other teams. I did disagree with a listener who said NFC West, number one, no debate. I think there's a big debate.
Nah, he's a
I
troll.
think there's a huge debate
That
there.
person's a troll. He sends in or
There's
she
no way.
like 100 messages and he trolls.
I love the AFC East argument, though.
Yeah.
What argument would you make to make them number one?
Let's look at the quarterbacks. You got Josh Allen, Tua, and you got Aaron Rodgers over there. The quarterbacks alone, I think is going to make this team extremely competitive. The New York Jets on paper look really good. Miami Dolphins on paper look really good. The thing about the Buffalo Bills is that they need themselves another number one receiver over there. But I feel like Josh Allen and his tight ends are good enough to kind of hold it down for a little bit. But, yeah, it's the quarterbacks for me. Quarterbacks and defense, man. We know Buffalo's defense is always going to be solid over there, and the Jets' defense is going to be solid, too.
Man, if the quarterbacks in the NFC North end up working out for Minnesota and Chicago, and if Jordan Love is for real, that's a fascinating division.
And what if Sam Darnold is either revived or JJ hits the block.
Right.
Doing his thing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You end up being like, oh, all of a sudden Justin Jefferson has someone throwing him the rock. They're really dominant. And who cares if they're great in the postseason? We're talking about just the best overall group. Chicago, you don't have a lot of faith, though, in Caleb Williams year one. Year one.
Year one. I think it's going to be fine. But year one, welcome to the NFL year.
Yeah. Stacey, have you ever paid on a bet you've lost? Yes, but I'm not going to give Matt $1,000 because he's a freak who was listening to us talking probably.
Again, I need to point out the bet was get both names. I was only able to guess the first name.
In my defense, the bet was $1,000 per name because I was so convinced you would not get it.
Was it?
But I need you to know that don't file the lawsuit. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. There are divisions I certainly don't care
Who's
about.
Who's the weakest division?
NFC South. Yeah. You could make AFC South. You could be like the Colts. You're right. What are they going to do? But what if Anthony Richardson is kind of fun? You know what I mean?
You know,
like what if the Titans take a step forward defensively? I don't know that they will, but what if they do? What if Trevor Lawrence finally makes it work and is able to build on that potential? And then Houston was a 10-win team. Like, I think the AFC South has more potential. When I look at the NFC South, I go, okay, so Derek Carr is going to magically get it done with the Saints? Like,
nah. Baker Mayfield, your Canales is gone. Can you do something with that?
I have zero faith in Bryce Young in year 2 because it's not like they drastically changed the team around him. That was a 2-win Panthers team. What are they going to do? Win 8? That's a drastic improvement.
Cousins with that. Here's the thing. I think Atlanta, out of that division, Atlanta has the potential to be really good on offense, man. Kirk Cousins, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts over there. He got some guys, man. You got Algier as well in the backfield with Bijan Robinson, who was a 1,000-yard receiver. They're my pick to win that division, though.
Yeah.
The Falcons.
All right, you guys, get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Any questions, send it right now to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. What I Need to Know coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Your pitching will keep you in any game for the most part. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal rotation that you desperately need to take advantage of while it's here, while they're together. We've got 4 of the 5 who are in baseball dollars very cheap and very young right now. And you're only going to have that group together for so long. You're also in a year where the AL West is really down.
Probably more importantly, don't you think?
Yeah, the division is there for you to take.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You ready for a road trip? Because it's time for the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here. And this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win, no purchase necessary. You'll get an extra entry when you trade in or sell your vehicle. And if you service your vehicle during the event, you'll be entered into a giveaway for a sleek solo stove. Just stop by and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
Oh no, your furnace died. Your hot water heater's leaking. Your drains are clogged. Your AC's blowing hot air. Inconveniences? No, they're emergencies. Don't fear. Call Deere Services. Visit deerservices.net. Make an appointment, and we'll be there within 3 hours or give you $100 credit. And get this, you will never pay a service fee. Bookmark DEARservices.net. Because if you're a homeowner, it'll happen to you someday. Deere Services, there when you need us most.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Are you tired of losing weight just to see it all come back again? Summer is around the corner and you want to look and feel like yourself again, but getting back on that frustrating weight loss roller coaster is the last thing you want to do. You've heard about the new drugs but are concerned with the possible side effects, or you're taking weight loss drugs but also want to learn how to change your lifestyle for long-lasting results. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Yeah, one of the great things about the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program for me was the lack of hunger. That's how I got into the problem to begin with, as I was eating too much, and I thought that would be the case as I was losing weight. No. Delicious recipes that keep you full.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 522-5070 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Summertime is Pacific Power Batteries time. Okay, maybe that's a stretch. But we do sell more batteries in the spring and summer because you folks are all out there doing stuff. Golf carting and boating and buzzing around on stuff that needs batteries. When's a good time? How about tomorrow? We're open 7 days a week to test any battery and let you know the honest answer. Summertime and the cranking is easy. Happy trails from Pacific Power Batteries.
Rick Riz here for the Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Many of our local youth sports teams need help with field enhancements, training, and equipment. Local Pella owners Keith Dashafy and Luke Wilson are stepping up to donate $5,000 to 2 deserving teams. We need your help finding them. Head to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a deserving team in need. Let's help our local youth improve their play this year with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Contest and rules at seattlesports.com/play.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Everyone knows by now that Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn is the best place to sell your car without the hassle of trying to sell yourself. But what about the hassle of buying a new car? If you're like me, that can be a really stressful experience, and you want to go to a place with people you trust. I'm here with my friend, Mark, from Wayscar Ford. And Mark, you guys have been family-owned and operated, and that's really important to you. Tell me why.
Yeah, Stacy, we don't pressure anyone to buy a car. Family-owned and operated dealership for over 100 years doesn't stay in business for over 100 years by not taking care of their customers. The one thing I can promise is absolutely no pressure, and every car we sell, new or used, comes with a 5-day or a 500-mile 100% money-back guarantee. If you change your mind for any reason, no problem. Bring the vehicle back for a full 100% refund.
So whether you're buying or selling a car, Wayscar Ford Isuzu is the place to go. They have the highest Google ratings of any Ford dealer in the Puget Sound region with thousands of reviews, and that trust is so important. Go to wayscarford.com. That's wayscarford.com.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to talk to you about baseball. It's game day. The stadium roof is open. Our club's putting up a fight. They're cold brews in hand. But outside, the police are getting ready to spot fans trying to steal their home base. Maybe the night threw you a curveball. An officer made an error. Or perhaps the bases weren't the only thing loaded. At 1-800-DUI-AWAY, we know it's not 3 strikes, it's 1 strike. And you're facing the Grand Slammer. 1-800-DUI-AWAY is here to help, even if we have to go into overtime. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com to set up your free private consultation. When you're on defense, it's full count, bottom of the ninth. You want your closing pitcher on the mound. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's What I Need to Know, brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken. Get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. First question. All right, so don't crown rookies until they prove it, but who do you think will have the best rookie season at quarterback? Up. I'm asking you, Matt. I needed to wait till you responded. This is the listener. This is the listener.
I can't even think of a fake name anymore. I've thought of too many fake names today.
Okay, so so you've got Caleb, Drake, Jaden. You just have to throw out a last name.
Those all sound like 5-year-olds.
Bo. Will.
Bo.
What's Bo's last name?
You know,
Bobo.
Bobo. That's Matt's answer. Okay. Do you have your answer, Bump? Bobo is the obvious answer, but.
Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
We're going to get it.
What I need to know, who's your favorite non-Mariner on your All-Star game ballot?
Oh, easy. Little Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, that's
tearing
a good
it
one.
up.
I was
man.
going to
Love
say Juan
watching him play.
Soto.
Yeah, Juan
Yeah,
Soto, yep.
Bobby Witt's
He's
a great
balling.
answer. Let's see. What I need to know. Let's see. So I live in San Diego, and I'm a huge Mariners fan. Do I need to plan on taking the month of October off for our playoff run?
Ooh, take it off. Go ahead. Put it in now. Say I'm deny it.
Mike from UP. What's your favorite fast food burger? Not the most popular, but mine has to be Carl's Jr. The classic Whopper is also at the top.
I gotta go with like a good fat burger. I went to Spokane and stayed at the Northern Quest the other like a month ago. Fat Burger's open 24/7. So after a long night of gambling and drinking water, I went and got myself a
Stay
fat
alert
burger.
and hydrated. I don't really have fast food burgers. I always got nuggets when I was little. Best nuggets, Popeyes. I'm gonna switch up the answer a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah. Let's see what I need to know. Do you guys ever eat leftovers? If so, which is the best? Yeah.
All the day?
It's
every
also
day.
For real.
controversial. No, not
It's my
controversial at all.
lunch.
It's pizza. Cold pizza is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, or leftover
Cold spaghetti.
spaghetti.
Yeah.
Ew. Cold spaghetti?
You never had cold spaghetti?
No, I'm a normal human with a
You don't even
microwave
like
in my
warm
house.
spaghetti, so why are
Yeah,
you
that's
even weighing
true.
in
You
on
know what?
this?
I should take two
Yeah.
steps back because the problem is that I don't like spaghetti in
first
general.
problem.
It's not that
That's
I
your
don't
first
like
problem.
it. It's just you have so
Call
many
yourself
pasta
Italian.
choices. So many pasta choices. And spaghetti
You're
is
not
your favorite.
Italian. Come on, Stace.
I don't care. I said what I said. Cold spaghetti, no thank you. Pass. Next up. Do you believe Scott Service is the top 10 of skippers in the league? I personally think he is, although he takes a ton of grief from this fan base.
Yeah, he is. And he does take grief because everyone here has been hurt before. And if they don't completely understand your method, they're going to dog you. That's just what fans do, man. But no, I'm with that 100%.
Questions into the Mac and Jacks text line, 866-979-3776. 509 doesn't have a question. He just says, Bobo's my dog. Bobo. Bobo might get Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he
People
should.
aren't ready to say it, but he might.
should.
What I need to know, who makes the conference finals first, the Kraken or the Sonics?
Oh, dang.
That's the low view on the Kraken, man.
Man, I'm going to say Sonics.
Ooh, okay.
The Kraken were a win away from the conference finals a year ago.
But they do it well. Man, how many games were out the playoffs this year? They were done with
early.
weeks to go, right?
I think there's quicker turnover, though, in the NHL than there is in the NBA.
That is true.
Bump, what technique do you teach slot receivers who have to block on some plays, much bigger linebackers? My son's having this problem. I mean, Curtis and I know, but okay, Bump. What do you got?
We're testing.
Yeah.
Understand what the play is doing. If it's an inside zone, the linebacker's eye is going to go inside, so you got to anticipate where he's going. Outside zone, you beat him to the spot. When it comes to powers and all that stuff, you're just getting in his way. So just understand what the running back is doing, therefore you can anticipate the flow of the linebacker.
See, at our camp, which is Curtis and Stacy make slot receivers block better than Bump Camp, LLC. We teach a one hand in the dirt method. I know this is typically something that you go, maybe an outside, maybe an edge rusher, you kind of play with a hand in the dirt. We do this because we encourage all of our slot receivers to grab a handful of turf, dirt,
Throw it at the
and throw
DB.
it in the eyes of the
Blind your
linebacker.
defensive back.
So that is always our approach is play dirty, and so we just encourage.
Because,
Yeah.
they say, if they can't see you,
Then they can't tackle
catch-
you.
they can't
Thank
tackle
you. That's what we say. What I need to know: who did it worse, the Broncos with Russ or the Browns with Deshaun?
I don't know. We haven't seen what the Browns can really do with Deshaun yet, so I'm going to say Broncos with Russ.
Well, the Browns
They gave
paid
him a
Deshaun
fully guaranteed
lot
contract.
of money.
What if he
though.
balls out this year?
I'm going Browns with Deshaun. It's
Yeah?
hard not to. It's just like even if it does pay off, that's so much money you
we're like
sunk and
4
draft
years
picks.
removed now from
Didn't they
Deshaun
get 3
Watson being
first-round
quarterback.
picks?
Yeah.
I completely see your line of reasoning, and I think it's a good argument. It's just so hard for me. You know what it is? I don't have faith they can make it work with Deshaun.
No?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why. He's
think-
younger than Russ. He was better than
I
Russ
don't
at his
think they
prime.
are either, but I'll give him a full season to try to figure it out.
Yeah. Let's see what I need to know. LeBron to the Mavs next season? Question mark.
Man, LeBron ain't going nowhere. JJ Redick, his boy, is going to be the head coach. He'll do another year in LA.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say the same thing. What I need to know. Someone said cold Chinese food is actually the best.
Cold Chinese food.
Cold Chinese food
I've had
works.
some cold orange chicken before.
Yeah.
It was hitting.
I don't really love Chinese food.
What do you like,
A
Stacey?
lot
you don't
of
like
things.
anything.
I like pizza. I like chicken nuggets.
But the thing about the pizza that you like is it's, drizzled in lawnmower sauce. Okay.
What is that even?
Yeah.
What is lawnmower sauce?
When you can see the grease is sitting on top of the pizza.
What's wrong with
Floating there.
that?
No, that's not what Stacey likes. She likes
No, I
like
dab it off
fig
with a
berries and
No.
potatoes on my pizza.
Potatoes on a pizza, there'd be nothing wrong with that. I would absolutely like
Potatoes
that,
on a
but that's not what I like. No, I like a lot of food. I'm not particularly a fan of Chinese food. I think spaghetti is a little overrated. At least I didn't, like Matt, say that PB&J is the best sandwich and better than a Philly cheesesteak.
It is the best sandwich.
But remember when Matt said that? This is deflection. What I need to know. Let's see. Did you try running away as a kid? And were you ever able to? Did you take a handkerchief with you?
Hey, you know how?
Did you ever run away as a kid?
I tried.
Bindle?
You tried?
I did. I just went to my grandma's house.
That's adorable.
I don't know what it's called. Old school. You put a little stick and a little bag on the
A
edge.
bindle.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
Bindle? Never said that word in my life. Yeah, I did that. I used a bindle.
I did run away when I was younger, and I got to the top of the hill, and then I turned around and came back, and I mostly did it for attention. So no, I didn't really run away. What I need to know, Bump, what's a good set of golf clubs for a beginner to pick up?
Anything with a big cavity on it. It allows you to cut through the grass more easily without the grass biting at the club and you shanking everything. So just look for big cavities.
Don't let it bite. Don't let that grass bite. You guys know what I think. Okay, that will do it for us today. We'll be back with you tomorrow. For Michael Bumpus, Curtis Rogers, apparently huge sports fan Matt Nelson. I'm Stacey Ross. Don't go anywhere. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Your pitching will keep you in any game for the most part. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal rotation that you desperately need to take advantage of while it's here, while they're together. We've got 4 of the 5 who are in baseball dollars very cheap and very young right now. And you're only going to have that group together for so long. You're also in a year where the AL West is really down. Probably more importantly, don't you think? Yeah, the division is there for you to take.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Chill or grill on a new deck this season. Get a free Makita Bluetooth radio or portable pellet grill with a qualifying PAR deck package purchase. But hurry, offer ends soon. Visit par.com for details. PAR, your total home building source. Go where the builders go.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Mike Salk here for RiversideRoofingLLC.com, where you can enter your address and receive a hassle-free quick quote on your roof replacement within seconds. Do it this spring and save time, money, and get your project done at RiversideRoofingLLC.com, the roofing company you can trust.
Flo here from Progressive to tell you how you get more than great savings with us. You get customer service access through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
That's a lot of ways I can get in touch with you. I see what's going on here. You can't name favorites, but I'm your #1 customer.